Billy Carson's full rant, which got taken down. I clipped this out. It's pretty much 99.9% of the video that he put on his own channel. 3.5 hour rant. I sped it up to 1.5. You could put it back to 5 if you want to hear it normal, which I don't think you want to. But at the very beginning, there was some audio problems on the source that I've got the video from. So maybe, if anything, there's maybe 2 to 3 minutes tops, maybe more, for of him introducing what he's going to cover. At the beginning of the video, there was some silence, so I kind of edited that out. So where it picks up, like I said, it's probably 3 to 4 minutes is missing from the rant at the very beginning. But other than that, it's 99.9% of the video. And here you go.
And take these secret phone calls that have been going out to try to recruit more people, to ask a lot of incredible questions, and to dig deeper and to try to raise money and beg for money, and to try to find out addresses and locations and all this kind of stuff. Threats of, we're going to be pulling up, we're going to be showing up at these events, from the top all the way down. So defendant number one is part of a ringleader program. He's not the main ringleader, but he's one of them. And we're going to be going a little bit into that tonight as well. While we still also talk about this contrived debate situation. Okay? But this organization that is defendant, I'm sorry, it's not defendant number one. I'm going to actually call him defendant number two, because he's actually technically number two on the docket that we have. Defendant number one, we'll be talking about him in a minute. Defendant number two, he is a person that's heavily involved in the super left NDP, and they're backed by religious zealots. A lot of them are with the University of Ontario, which we've already been talking about, the University of Ontario, and they're heavily involved in bribes for false information and doing a lot of what you would call research. If somebody has real knowledge, if their word is so powerful, if their holy words that they know and all their history that they supposedly know is so incredible and so true, why have they got to do all this for little old Billy Carson? Why they got to come for little old Billy Carson? Right? Why is that? It seems as if they just don't have the power they thought they had. Right? So we're heavily involved in a lot of research, along with sharing information with different parties, different organizations. One is the RCMP. That's the Royal Canadian Mounted Police. Through them, we were able to get connected with the VDP, the Vancouver Police Department, also the CFSEU, which they then linked us there in a conference call. So we're dealing with the Combined Forces Special Enforcement Unit, and they're involved in a lot of organized gang-related crime. That's what they're involved in. And why is it gang-related? Because in America, this would be called a RICO. When you put a group of people together and you begin to organize and you conspire to attack through cyber attacks, through physical attack, through threats, and you also you create this environment for negativity. You create this environment for potential threat of life. You create this environment for zealots to feel that they're now empowered to injure, potential injury, and things like that, or to disrupt business. That's the RICO. But they have something different in Canada for that, as we were told now through the attorneys and the talks we've had so far. So the Canadian Anti-Fraud Center, the CAFC. Cybercrime involves fraud, phishing, and other online fraud, including scams. And one of the scams is contacting people and paying bribes, offering bribes, which has happened, to get them to give an alternative view or a different opinion about forbidden knowledge of Billy Carson, which has already happened. There's already one named defendant. That'll be defendant number 3. Okay? Pretty interesting stuff tonight. So, where are we at now? We got 7,000. Come on, let's go. Come on, bring the people on in there. Get this video out there now. I got a lot to talk about tonight. This is the video y'all been waiting on. I saw one of their videos go, I said, the video you've been waiting to see. Now, that ain't the video you've been waiting to see. Nobody's waiting to see their videos. Nobody cares to see their videos. Only the people that are already in the cult, or people that are just curious. The people that want to see videos, or the video they want to see is the ones that I'm putting out. And nobody puts out more volume of videos and content than I do. Not nobody in the world. Not one single person. You may try to collectively create a whole bunch of content by passing the same video around 100 million times, talking about 2 things or 3 things. That's all you really have. You have nothing else to talk about. But in terms of real knowledge, you don't have any. Now, let's start with defendant number 1. Okay? Defendant number 1. Let me pull this out. People are shocked that I'm suing somebody. Oh, I've sued a lot of people already. This is. I'm not a dummy. I'm not one of these kids from the hood that just goes out there and gets into fights and shoots people. I don't do that. I use the same legal system that's been afforded to everyone else of every color and every race that's available to me. Let's go ahead and get into some of this. I'm going to pull up defendant number 1 here. Let's see if I can find it here. There it goes. This defendant was considered to be a very close friend. And as you can see in the photos here, top left, he's at my wife's birthday party. As you can see, marked with the black line across his face. He's marked up, okay? On the bottom beneath that, you see all of us in white. His face has got the black bar across. That's, again, we marked up his face. But again, this person was at my wedding. That's my wedding down there. For my very, what I thought would be my very close friends. We had a very private wedding in Bora Bora. And I think we only had 14 people there max. And he was actually one of those 14 people. On the right, lower right side, you can see that, we are hopping off of a private jet. He actually got, we got so close with the family, and, they would come on trips with us, and we would go on trips with them. We have private jets. We don't have them. We don't own them, but we rent them out. We fly to different places. He flies to private jets. In fact, one of the ones that we use now is one that he referred to, okay, the jet club. And so, but I'm sitting here, I'm flying around with this guy on private jets. And there's a reason why I'm establishing this line of discussion with this defendant. It's because this defendant was in my inner circle. Now, this defendant is my neighbor. I can literally go out my front door and walk for about 2 minutes and knock on his front door. We're inside the same exact gated community. Okay, so this is a person not only that's been around us, that we hang out with, that we fly on private jets with and go around the world and everything else, but also this is a person that, my kid goes over their house, spends the night. Their son comes over here, spends the night. His son and my son are best friends. I've sent him and his son to countless NBA games because I have season tickets, but since I work so much and I'm traveling so much, I miss a lot of games. Sometimes I sell them, but sometimes I just give the tickets away to people that I think can use them. And people I feel that can really appreciate the games. So, as a matter of fact, you'll find out that I had just given him some tickets just recently, even while all this was going on. So he could take his son to a nice NBA game. Anyway, so this is the type of person, you believe is really close to you and would never betray you. This is something that I manifested. This is no blame on the defendant. This is a blame on me, because at some point, he got past the radar. He really got past the radar. From the beginning, he was a secret hater from the jump. You just never know. Sometimes you get people that you think are really close to you and they're your real friends, and the whole time they've got some type of envy or jealousy or whatever it is brewing in the background, some type of deceit, or they're ready to backstab or whatever the case may be, right? But that's the situation. So this is the guy right here, all right? So why would I show something like that? Well, I'm establishing a relationship, and it's very important as to some of the videos that have been put out there that have been circulating, where you see me pull up to his house, or I pull up, I can ring the doorbell, and I'm going to play the audio from you ringing the doorbell because I recorded myself at his house with an audio, and thank goodness I did that because the audio tags the date, the time, and you can hear me speak my location, where I'm at, what I'm going to do, and the doorbell that I ring. You can hear the doorbell ring. Okay, it's very, very important that I establish this timeline. This is called evidence. This is called evidence. Okay, because people out there in this gang, this gang out there, I do call them a gang, this organized crime gang, they want to establish me as some type of a crazy guy who pulled up on a YouTuber when that's not what happened. Okay, now I actually got very sick. I was extremely sick and went in the hospital prior to this whole thing happening. And when I say I was sick, I was deathly ill. I actually almost died. We did a whole podcast about this maybe a couple of months back when it first happened. I'm still not fully out of recovery, okay? This is me in the hospital and my wife sleeping on a sofa next to me while in the middle of the night. You can see the heart monitor, the oxygen in my nose and everything else. And I did a podcast about it because she literally saved my life and allowed me to make it back to America so that I can get hospital treatment in America, because where I was, they didn't have the proper treatment. And why am I showing you that? Also to establish a timeline. It's very important to understand what was going on. And yes, I was really in the hospital, and yes, I was really sick. Okay, here goes my hospital bandage that I take, because everyone knows that my leaders out there, my leaders that are always on my accounts know that I always keep receipts of every single thing. And that's my hospital bandage. And then I have my hospital bills. This is my bill for the stay in the hospital, $37,460. That's one of the three, right? There's another one here for $1,601. And there's another bill. Here it goes. $2,585. He's off in that one stay in the hospital. Okay, so these are the hospital bills. So I was extremely ill and sick. And to add to that point, during the session where I went over to Mark's house, which was right around the corner from me, if you look at my arm in the lower corner of the photo, you see that I just got the IV bandage taken out of my arm from being in the hospital. Okay, I just got the IV bandage out. I was in the hospital with a severe case of pneumonia, and that pneumonia was so severe that it literally almost killed me. And my whole right side was completely full of bacteria. And then the left side was almost full. I had only 25% oxygen support. My body was going into septic shock. White blood cell count trending up towards 40. I lost 22 pounds and was extremely ill. I noticed yesterday when my wife was talking and some of the posts that she had made, people were commenting, that black guy, these are the Christian followers of this cult. That black guy looks like he's on drugs. And people comment, yeah, he's on drugs. He's a dope addict, and all these crazy comments. This is how they uplift you. This is the enlightened people. These are the chosen ones, right? Well, I looked sick in the video because I actually was sick. In fact, before the video started, I had a bottle of water, and I told him, look, you may have to stop this a couple times because I can't really breathe that well yet. My lungs are still recovering, and I coughed from time to time because I was trying to cough up still a little bit of phlegm in there from the pneumonia. After I got done with the IVs, they moved me on to the actual tablet or pill. You take these huge horse pills and got to keep taking those antibiotics until your lungs are clear. But it's still a long healing process, a 12-week healing process. And I got like a week and a half or two to go for this healing process. Now, why is that important? Why is that important to this whole thing? Well, because I wasn't even supposed to leave the house. I was extremely sick. I had just had a near-death experience in the hospital a few days prior, got released. I had been so sick for the 2 weeks leading up to the hospitalization, trying to get back to America, trying to stay alive. And then I'm bedridden, and I just feel like, man, I just got to get up and do something. I just can't lay down like this. I just can't do it. Like, for a person as active as me, it felt horrible. I felt like I was, completely useless. So I get a call from Mark, like, hey man, we're gonna hop on a podcast, I'm like, okay, yeah, I'm like, that sounds like a good idea. Something I can do. And all I gotta do is go around the corner from my house. I don't have to even leave the neighborhood. I don't have to go on an airplane, which is what I usually have to do. I can just literally walk around the corner and go in his house. So that's what I did. My wife was extremely unhappy that I told her I was gonna go over there. I said, I'll just be like 30 minutes or so. It won't be a big deal. We just want to have a conversation. We're gonna talk about some things. You got somebody else coming on. I really thought it was just gonna be like a casual conversation about our perspectives on legality and our perspectives on religion versus spirituality. I really didn't know it was gonna be any kind of a debate. Okay, it's more of an ambush situation. And I have all text messages to prove this, which are gonna be in the discovery for defendant number 1. Anyway, so I go over there. I'm a little gassed, but whatever. I'm just happy to be involved in anything at this point. I sit down, get mic'd up and everything else. I get myself some water. I give him that warning about my coughing so that he knows, like, if you just pause every now and then, you might have to edit the coughs out. Okay, I think that's on recording actually from the beginning of the video. They probably edited that out already, whatever. And then he brings on this guy on the screen, defendant number 2. So defendant number 2 comes on the screen. I have no idea who this guy is. I literally have no clue who this guy is. I don't know his name. I don't know who he is. I don't recognize him from anywhere. Some Joe Schmo off the street. I have no clue who this guy is. But whatever. He seemed like a nice gentleman. I thought we were going to have a really nice conversation. Now, this whole time, I'm thinking this is just going to be a conversational-based thing. Not a big deal. I don't got to stress my brain. I don't got to think too hard. We're just talking. And then Mark gets this guy on the live feed, and he says, "Hey, we're gonna have a little debate." I'm like, "A debate?" He's like, "Yeah, we're gonna talk about this, your perspective of religion and stuff and so on, whatever." And I'm like, "Huh?" I'm like, "Okay, whatever." And so now in the debate, the way that this works, I've been in debates before, real debates, okay, like from school, the debate club. I understand what a real debate actually is because I've actually been in actual real debates. There's a moderator, a person that moderates. The moderator, him or herself, does not interfere with the conversation. They don't interfere, you see? They don't commandeer the conversation. And the moderator is there to allow both parties to actually get a chance to talk and get their point across. But that's not what happened. What happened was, as we opened this up, the moderator asked the first question, not the defendant number 2, okay? Now, that's interesting. So I go, okay, this is from the jump. I'm like, well, that's kind of strange. If this is a debate, then it's supposed to be a little bit more organized. I said, well, maybe he doesn't have the etiquette of knowing debates like I do because I've been in real debates and so whatever. I didn't think of nothing of it at that exact moment.
All right. Oh.
Of Jesus' wife. Okay. I think that was the first thing. It might have been the second thing, but it might have been the first thing. Either that or the Sinai Bible question. And I'm like, okay, whatever. So I give my answer about the gospel of Jesus' wife, to what I knew about it. Not even a deep answer, just a very surface answer. I'm just like, whatever, man. I'm just surviving at this moment. And then the gentleman, defendant number 2, he comes back with all this rhetoric about it's a known fake and it's this and that and everything else and it's no good and it doesn't exist and blah, 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 blah. It's fake or whatever he's talking about. I'm like, okay, well, let me get my rebuttal in on this fakeness. But I never got a chance to get my rebuttal because I had something very important to say about that, which I'm going to
check this out
about the gospel of Jesus' wife. And I'm going to play a couple of short videos as well. Okay. And then the second question, or maybe it was the first, like I said, I can't remember. And again, I was so sick and ill, to be quite honest with you. Maybe I did bubble my words a couple of times with the Sinai Bible or the Barnabas text. It's quite possible. Look, some of y'all think I'm an alien, but I'm really human. Okay, I'm a person just like you guys are. And to that effect, and being in that weakened state, which he knew he caught me in one of my most weakest states. He saw how I only weighed 206 pounds at his house. So I was very, very frail and thin. I've gained back now 15 pounds, but at the time I was very thin, just weak. But I'm human. I might have bumbled the Barnabas text or the Sinai text or whatever. It doesn't really matter. What matters is I never got a chance to answer any questions or get my voice heard. That's what really matters. But I'm going to
wait a minute.
My Bible tonight. And I'm going to break down the gospel of Jesus' wife and some other things tonight as well. I'm going to break them down the way that I wanted to talk on that video, but never got a chance to say anything. And then what they did was they're pretty slick. So every time I had something really important to say or a deep question to ask, defendant number 2 video would just magically disconnect. Boop, he's off again. Oh man, he's off again. I don't know what happened.
More lies.
What happened? I was like, that's strange because it didn't happen when he was talking. His video was very clear and crisp, like almost 4K. Then he comes, he gets back into the live feed, to the whatever app they were using. I'm not sure what kind of app it was. He's back on. He's dialed back in, Now I'm trying to ask my question. I'm getting overridden with other text, other words from defendant number one. He's overriding what I'm trying to say, everything I've got to ask. He's talking over me. I'm the person that's supposed to be in this debate. I can't even get a word in. And as soon as I say one thing, the other guy, defendant number two, he's overriding and talking over me. I'm just sitting there patiently, just quiet.
Wait a minute.
Okay, you can sit there, just sitting there. Then all of a sudden I have something powerful to say in a response to say, disconnects, video disconnects right when I start talking again. No more video. Video feed gone. I'm like, this is crazy. Now I see what's going on. This is an actual setup, because every time he would come back and start talking dogmatically and talking all this garbage, he would then pick up his cup and do this and give a smirk. So I saw then at that moment, I realized, oh, this is a contrived setup video to make me look like I'm some type of dummy and I don't know what I'm talking about. So they can go bragging to all their Christian buddies and friends in their cult and, oh, he didn't know the answer to these two questions.
But that's exactly.
Again, I try to hold off with having faith that maybe Mark wouldn't be involved in something like this. Third time happens again, disconnects the video feed. Fourth time happens again, disconnects the video feed. Fifth time happens again, disconnects the video feed. Only when I'm talking. And I realized after the fifth time, this is bullcrap. This is, and I said, Mark, this is garbage, man. What you guys, this is a setup. This is ridiculous. Every time I have something to say, he's disconnecting, man. I can see him literally disconnecting his video manually. And only one time I got to ask a couple of questions. I could see him on his screen on ChatGPT trying to look for the answer real quick, and he gives some roundabout, ridiculous answer.
Wait a minute.
And I realized then that this was bogus and unprofessional and something I would never want to be a part of. Absolute total trash. And I told Mark at that moment, I'm leaving, man. I gotta go. I got an air conditioning guy coming to my house. I have my mother-in-law coming into town, and something happened too. We have 5 AC units, and I don't even know which one of them is acting up. All I know is one of the rooms in the house upstairs where she's gonna be is hot.
Check this out.
So I had to have somebody come over and find out which AC unit out of the 5 is broken. So I'm like, I'm not gonna miss the appointment for this trash. This is garbage. So I walk out in the middle, and I tell him, don't use this. I don't approve this. I never signed a consent form. When you go to a podcast, if you don't know the video etiquette, I'm gonna tell you right now. Anytime I show up to any podcast I show up to, Joe Rogan, PVD, I mean, you name it, right? Next Level Soul, wherever I'm at. The first thing you do is you sit down and you sign a release form. That's just basic standard legal. You sign a release form. I didn't sign any kind of release form. I never gave any authorization or consent, luckily, because that now makes the video illegal to use with my likeness, my face, my voice. Any form, any shape or form. Even if it's just a 10-second clip. Even if it's 1 second of me, I did not consent. Why? Because it's unprofessional, and I knew they were going to utilize it to show me in some type of a negative light for their own self-gain, for some type of clout chasing.
Well, if you knew.
It gets even deeper than that, you see? So I walk out. My wife, I get back to the house. I'm extremely pissed off and angry. I can barely breathe. I normally take the elevator upstairs when I was sick in my house. I have an elevator. I normally take the elevator up, but I was so pissed off, and I took the staircase up to the loft where my wife was sitting. And when I got to the top of the staircase, I was so exhausted I couldn't even breathe. I almost dropped down on one knee. She's like, "What's going on? What's happening?" She's like panicking. I told her what's happening to the best of my ability. She got pissed off. She got Mark on the phone right away. My wife is my manager. And she called immediately, got him on the phone, and said, Billy doesn't consent to this. We signed a contract with another company to do an actual show called Versus, and with a very prominent figure involved in it, and all the different people from different areas of religion. It's a very organized debate system, and it's going to be a TV series. So I did sign that contract. I didn't know I was going over there to do this kind of debate. I thought we were having a casual conversation on spirituality, and I wasn't really even fully in my right mind. I just almost died a few days before going to his house, literally. And so he took advantage of that, which is what happened. I can't say he took advantage of that. I allowed him to take advantage of that because for whatever reason I was just weak, and sometimes you trust people, especially when you've been around them that long and that much. Whatever the case may be, it happened. She was very upset. She called him. She put a do not consent in immediately, and that ended that call. Then he kept trying to send me messages. He was sending me so many messages, which I'm going to put some text messages on the screen tonight, but I can't put all the text messages on the screen because a lot of it is going into evidence. Because defendant number one is going to be sued for $1 million, and possibly even more. But the messages were coming into me, were talking about the desperation that he's in to get this video out. Absolute desperation. And I'm like, what the hell is so desperate about this ridiculous video that was so corny and contrived and stupid? Like, what is the desperation for this video? Like, what really, like, how can you send me 15, 20 messages that are each like a paragraph or too long? That gives me anxiety. I don't want to read messages that long. I told him, I said, stop sending me these crazy long messages, man. Finally, after like the 8th message, I start reading these messages, and they're like, I'm under attack. They're attacking me. They're threatening me. This is all in text. They're trying to take me down. They're gonna expose me. They're threatening my businesses. All these things he's telling me. He's in panic mode, like super panic mode, like the mafia's after him. Well, they really were. But these people operate like the mafia. They're very evil people. Don't let the Christian name, Protestant, and all these different names that they got out there for these people fool you. These people are dark, and they're evil, and they're very manipulative, and very contriving. So defendant number 2 and his horde of cult people, cult followers, in some way have been attacking him. They created robots and bots to attack his comments on his posts, attack his positive posts, attack his comments from his followers, attack people on his YouTube videos, attack his live chats, just attack. Same thing they've been doing us, using real people and also using robots, which is really what is considered a cyber attack, which is actually illegal and against the law. If your word is so powerful, why use all the robots? If your word is so powerful, why use all the contrived devices and all the illegal apparatus? Why? Why do that if your word is so true and so powerful and it's it's got the light of God and everything in it? Why do you have to stoop so low and start doing all these underhanded dark acts? You proved my theory about you people this whole time, this whole situation, all these videos. And the more you guys put out, the more you're going to make me famous and the more you're proving my point. So he's panicking. Okay, he's absolutely panicking. My wife didn't know that I was going back to see him again. After seeing all these crazy messages and his complete panic attack, I was so pissed off at him. But I said, let me just give him the benefit of the doubt one more time. I mean, for goodness sake, my son is up in this guy's house, So I go over there at his behest, begging me to come over. I got all the messages. And I meet him at his house. His wife is home. His son is home. His son's eating a shake at the table, drinking a shake at the table, a smoothie or something. His wife is in the kitchen heating some food up that she got from our chef. Our chef became their chef. Again, just showing the connection there. I've had a chef.
There's a lot of you.
They like the food from coming over and eating the food at our house, and now they share our chef. And she was warming up some food for our chef. That chef had cooked for them. I go meet with him. I talk with him. He's telling me about the pressure he's under and the attacks he's under. I said, look, man, I really don't care about all of that. I said, Mark, nobody really even knows who you really are. So why are you worried about it? Why?
So we need to protect.
Worried about this? Like, nobody knows who you are. Like, your business is your business. You have another company that has nothing to do with the internet where you make money. That's how you became a millionaire. You didn't become a millionaire off of YouTube. YouTube is brand new and nobody knows who the hell you are. So why do you even care about these people? But he was so desperate, as if his life was damn near in danger. His family was damn near in danger. He was desperate. I said, look, man. He said, I'm going to make he said, is it okay if I make a response video? I said, you can make a response video, but don't use any of my footage in there. I don't consent to it. I said, if you put it in, I'm going to send you a cease and desist. He goes, oh, man, we friends, man. It's all love. We're not doing that. I said, okay. Shook his hand. And I walked out of the house. The next thing that I did was I knew I had a game coming up, a basketball game that I couldn't make it to. And once again, with my brand new seats, my upgraded seats, I contacted him and I said, hey, would you like to take your son to the NBA game? I can't make it to this particular game. And he says, sure thing. He says, I see, though the conversation is a little broken because I couldn't fit the whole thing in the screenshot, was wondering if you got the seats you had last year and had the courtside bands. You did upgrade your tickets. I said, yes. He said, those seats are nice. So he got he realized I had gotten even better seats than I had the last time. He was very happy about that. That was the conversation. The day after, he agreed to not release anything of my footage. Gentleman's handshake. And I explained to him, it didn't look good for him or me. It was very unprofessional, very clownish, very childish. And if somebody edits it, it's going to look really one-sided.
Look at this, all.
Okay. So now that happens. Send him to the game. He's happy. And then the next thing I know, he starts sending more texts about he's getting attacked. He's getting attacked from defendant number 2. Okay. He says that they're attacking him. He's under a lot of pressure. This guy is really scared now. I'm like, what kind of pressure can you be under for a damn clumsy video that was horrible? Guys disconnecting 5-6 times in the video. He's half the time he's not even on the screen. You're talking too much. I can't get a word in. I look frustrated. I can't say what I want to say. I'm walking out. Like, what is so frustrating about this video? It's so raggedy. I don't care if it was legitimate. I wouldn't even put any crap like that because it looks stupid. It makes us look like we're amateurs. But he's panicked. 2 weeks later, unbeknownst to me, he releases the full video in the middle of the night. In the middle of the night, he sends me this 3-paragraph text message after the desperation that he was under and the attacks that he was under as to why he had to release this video. Is this one it? Let me see. Oh, no, that's the Heat tickets that I told you I gave him. So you can see, you can look for the Heat Sacramento game. You'll know exactly what day this happened. With the day that he agreed not to release the video. This is the day after he went to the Heat game with his son. Anyway, that text message he sent was probably so long I probably put it up here. So, case in point is the fact that he's in some type of severe desperation. He feels so threatened by somebody, some entity, that he feels like, I just got to put this video out to get the pressure off. Otherwise, I'm going to suffer in some way, shape, or form. What that suffering exactly is, I don't know, but it must be severe because this guy was panicking like a little girl. Literally. And all this will come out in Discovery. The next thing I know, video's out. I'm actually sleeping in my movie theater, in my house. I have a movie theater. I'm sleeping in the movie theater. I kind of passed out watching the game that was on that night. Happens to me sometimes. Sometimes the game watches me. I wake up around 1 something, almost 2 or whatever. I see my cell phone is blowing up like crazy. I got all these people contacting me. People haven't talked to me in a few weeks or a couple of months or whatever. I'm like, what's going on? It's the middle of the night. Why are people calling me like this? I read a couple of the messages and it's about this video that's out. I'm like, what video is this? What's going on? They're really pissed off about it because they said, man, this is like some kind of setup you're in, Billy. What's going on here? I click on the video, I see it, I realize it's out. Then I go to Mark to text him, and I see he had sent me this long message about, I'm so sorry, I apologize. I wasn't supposed to put this out, but I had to release it because of too much pressure. I was under so much pressure and they were attacking me. Exact words. So, okay. That's not acceptable. So I go to my computer, I write a do not consent form, a professional do not consent form. I print it up on my printer. And the next thing I do is I head over to his house. Now, they try to make it look like I'm pulling up on a YouTuber. I saw some video. Billy Carson's his career is going to be ended because he just pulls up on YouTubers as if I drove through the middle of the night in a snowstorm to go bang on this guy's door and tell him to take the video down. That's not what happened at all. You see, Defendant One and I talk very often in the middle of the night, 2, 3, 4 o'clock in the morning, and the reason why is because we work so much. That's usually when we can have our conversations. I've got dozens of conversations and dozens of times that we've met and talked in the middle of the absolute night. When people are sleeping, we're up. We only sleep about 4 to 5 hours a day. Sometimes I sleep 6 max just because my wife really wants me in bed sometimes. So, but that's how we sleep. People are busy. We're busy people. We don't, we're not slackers out here. We're grinders. So we're always up talking. So for me to get up and say, I gotta go over to his house, I gotta find what's going on. Here's my friend. Like, what is going on? Like, I need to find out what desperation is so bad and so severe that he feels that this had to be done against my wishes and against my will. So I get out and I go to his actual house, which is right around the corner in my gated community. I didn't drive through the night. I didn't drive through the sleet and the snow and track him down and search for him on Google Earth and all these crazy contrived ideas. I literally just went right around the corner and rang his doorbell within my own gated community in walking distance. I didn't walk that night because it was a little chilly. I did get out in my slippers, and I took the car right around the corner, which took less than a minute. Walking would have taken maybe 3 minutes at the most. I come back to the house. I'm extremely angry and I'm extremely frustrated that I wasn't able to contact him. His phone was in like do not disturb mode, so I tried to call first. I tried to call him like 4 or 5 times, evidence in my phone records. I texted him 5 or 6 times. I also texted him a copy
My
of
mod.
do not consent, and I WhatsApped him a copy of my do not consent form at the same time, as will be evidence in the case. Then what happened? I come back to the house. I wake up my beautiful wife. I tell her what's going on, and we call his wife. We call defendant number one's wife, a beautiful, incredible woman, very strong woman, great person, great human being, like a sister to my wife. She's actually like a sister to my wife. They're born on the same day. They both are born on Valentine's Day. So that's something they really, really have in common, which created a bond between them. We give her a call. She answers the phone. She's not in America, which we knew that already. We figured she'd probably be up by then, even though it was 2-something in the morning, because she was out of the country and she was ahead of time in Europe. We told her what was going on. She had no idea of the extent of this. She was extremely frustrated and very worried and very pissed off at defendant number one, her husband. And she hopped on an airplane and flew straight back home from France that night and came to our house the next evening. Came to our house, sat down in our dining room with us, and we talked for a couple of hours about the situation. She was so apologetic and so sad and so sorrowful that somebody that she loved had done something like this to somebody that she also loved. She couldn't believe it. She was gasped and without any words that he would do something low down and dirty as this. She was completely distraught and disgusted. I was really upset that he did not come with her. I thought that she'd bring him with her. That was the plan. And we'd sit there and we talk and figure this thing out. But he never came, just like a soft, gentle woman. He never came. He just stayed hiding somewhere, like a little girl. He didn't show up. So, okay, didn't show up, fine. We talked to the wife, we gave her hugs and kisses and tell her, look, this has nothing to do with you, man. This is just an unfortunate situation. You know, it's an unfortunate situation. But at the end of the day, she got him to take all the videos down. He took them all down. He took down the response video and he took down the contrived, edited version of the debate, if you want to even call it a debate. I call it a defake. That's what it really was. An unqualified garbage. If somebody who really wanted debates would have saw that, they would have laughed at us and said, what amateurs? This is garbage. That's how crappy it was. But she got him to take the videos down because she really wears the pants in the family. She's really the boss. When she puts her foot down, everything happens. She's the one who makes that family move. Anyway, so that's done. The next day, they do get served with a letter from my attorney. It was a cease and desist, a formal do not consent via a cease and desist. Even though the videos have been taken down, that was already in motion because I contacted our attorney that same night.
Are you?
He picks up. I don't care what time of the day it is. I don't care if it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 o'clock in the morning. We're getting a response. So he was already working on it. So the email went out with the formal cease and desist. I guess that pissed him off that he got that letter after he had taken the videos down. That was already in motion. And it's nothing. It's not.
Now,
It's just, hey, it's a formal, legal, I do not consent. Then he had to go pay for an attorney to respond to it, as he should. So he responded to it and confirmed that the videos have been taken down and they're deleted. We actually, in our do not consent, we acted all the podcasts that I have been in on his channel be taken down, even from the past, because I'm the one who tried to help blow him up. When he had 5 subscribers, I gave him like 50 to 80,000 subscribers by going on his podcast. I'm one of the main reasons why he got to 100,000 subscribers on that platform. I gave him the most views he ever had in his life because my name catches the algorithm. This is why this horde of cult followers are using my name, because they know it goes into the algorithm. They're just clout chasers because they don't have any knowledge. If they had knowledge, they can build their own platform on their own. They can build their own base of fans on their own. But since they don't The only thing they can do is create controversy and attract people through dark energy. They're just energy vampires. That's all they are. So the video goes out to the editor. That's defendant number 3. Defendant number 3. That's what I'm asking you a question tonight. Are you nervous? He's got nothing. He's got nothing on me. That's what you said. He's got nothing on me. He just paid me. He paid me before, but he's got nothing on me. Oh, I got something on you. We're gonna break that down tonight. We got something on you, defendant number 3. You have no idea what kind of hot water you put yourself in. Like you have. I mean, for a businessman, you got to be dumping in a box of rocks. Like, you didn't realize what you were doing, number 1, was illegal. You don't realize the financial damages that I'm able to get now, and then the doxing that you attempted to do, that you tried to delete. You didn't realize that we had already copied all of that and logged it into evidence, and that we've already won cases with that same exact doxing file that you used, which is fake information, as you'll see tonight when I showcase why. And I'm going to put some of the cases on my screen tonight. You, my friend, defendant number 3, are going to spend a lot of money. All the money, well, you only made probably $50, $60 on YouTube, so your Instagram isn't even monetized. So you made no money, except for the money that you got paid by the defendant number 1 to edit the video, which he pays you because you're his editor, and whatever this cult paid you as a bribe to get involved with them and whatever. But I'm going to break that all down in a minute. But what you did was you gave me an easy case. Like the easiest case out of all these cases is actually yours. So all this you were saying on video tonight about you got nothing to worry about, I got nothing on you. We got a lot on you. You're the one we have the most on. And, I know you're sleeping on your mom's couch up there in Michigan, but you're going to be sleeping there a lot longer because you won't be able to afford your own place anytime soon, okay? Because we're going to win this judgment against you. So let's get into this.
This shows you.
To defendant number 3. Let's go over a little bit more about this. I'm gonna save him because that's like icing on the cake. I'm gonna save him. That's like icing on the freaking cake, man. Let me get into a little bit more about this deepfake. The deepfake. Let me get into this deepfake a little bit. Okay. I told you what was happening in this thing, and a couple of the questions that have been brought up about the Sinai Bible and the Gospel of Jesus' wife.
Is he going to try?
Let's take a look at a couple of things real quick. Let me get some of my windows open up here. Let me get some of this information out. Where's this PowerPoint at? Hold on a second. I want to put something on the screen for you guys, so we can really get this information
and see
into our understanding. And I'm going to use this PowerPoint as my source material, not because I need it, but because I have the sources on here. And that way, these people can't continue to contrive information, as I am going to be giving sources. And I'm going to give you guys a short video as well here in a second, okay? Let me just get this thing up here real quick, because this is very, very important. And we're going to go into a little bit of what defendant number 2 has tried to make 100,000 videos out of nothing. And what's so funny is his little henchmen and his little people that were already in the cult and already far left. You're ending Billy Carson's career on these 2 questions. Really? No, you're building my career. And to add proof in that fact, this is the most people I've ever had on a live video.
Did you know?
Let me go back to my live chat real quick before I pull up this PowerPoint. Where are we at now? I'm at 11,499 people. The most I've ever had was 5,000. You guys doubled my popularity on a live video in one day. Thank you so much. All the dark energy, all your
This guy is
followers, and all your cult people, and all your people that are in your organizations that are coming to watch my video with that dark energy. How did you see the fall of Billy Carson? That's dark energy, that frequency that's coming here. You see this behind me? That's the face of God. God's not a man flying around with a magic wand granting wishes. God is a frequency, and it's your job to tune in. Y'all didn't tune in. See, I'm tuned in. So all this dark energy that you're bringing toward me, I've alchemically converted that energy into money. That's exactly what I've done. So I'm watching tonight.
Yeah, somebody.
Now, let's get into this. Let me get this. I've got to get this this PowerPoint in here real quick. I thought I had it on that computer, but I'm gonna send it over there real quick so I can open it, and then I'm gonna get back into defendant number 3 and break him all the way down. I'm gonna break him all the way down, guys. He actually got on a video tonight on some show, like he's some type of superhero out here. This guy has 3 likes per post on social media, and he started a social media marketing company. We actually hired this guy, and his work was so bad we had to get rid of him. We had to fire him. He was great in other areas that we had things we had done with him in the past, which I will go over. And I'm going to read a lot of text messages from defendant number 3 as well. Tons and tons of text messages I'm going to read. And I'm going to expose his bed of lies and fabrication. And then I'm going to break down his doxing. And I'm going to show you why he's the easiest case for us to win. And he'll be sleeping on his mom's couch just a little bit longer after I get done breaking this down. Okay? All right, let me get this this doggone PowerPoint over here. I'm gonna try it a different way. It's not cooperating with me, so I'm gonna try one other way. Because I want to get a little bit more into the deepfake and finally get a chance to say, turn this volume off. Finally get a chance to say what I want to say. Let's see if I can get this presentation in here. What's this? Because there's a lot I wanted to say and didn't get a chance to. But we're going to go over some of that tonight. And so, defendant number 3, very interesting guy. Very, very interesting guy. He's one of the key figures in this whole operation. He's like the linchpin, if I can use that term. My good friend Terrence Howard. He's like the linchpin, because linchpins also have to do with energy. So he's going to give.
No, he says it's good
and feeding it. And we'll get to the foundation of his agenda eventually, most likely through discovery. But I'm hypothesizing that his failing business structure, his failing business model, put him in a situation where, and his lack of ability to do any real internet marketing and to gain any real following, he couldn't even build his own following, that he was offered in some way, shape, or form some type of money from this cult organization, who are now in contact with the proper authorities, several authorities, which I'll talk about one more time before we end this live, those exact authorities. And he utilized that potential revenue, I don't know if he did, so I'm saying potential revenue, that he got from the bribing or whatever the offer was. It was very enticing to him to bring the popularity to him. He really needed it so badly. And so, yes, uploading now. And so by that offer, whatever offer that they made him to get involved in the situation and to cultivate and to manipulate Defendant 1, he successfully did that to Defendant 1. And he was able to acquire this illegal footage, and I do mean illegal, and then he had a decision to make. Am I going to utilize it, or am I going to do the right thing and let it go? But he had an incentive. There was an extra incentive for Defendant number 3 to take this footage and put it out. He has a direct connection in some way, shape, or form to Defendant number 1, which we will find that out in discovery. See, the money that you thought you were making and the popularity you thought you were making is all going to be spent on attorney's fees. And I don't care if I win or
Oh, check this out.
spend money. You see? Let's see if this is it here. So one of the questions
You hear what he said?
I brought up was the information about the Sinai Bible, which has a lot of differences than the King James Version of the Bible. It's also called the Codex Sinaiticus. And what I had said in a few podcasts, which probably only 2 or 3 podcasts I had mentioned, and of course reels and clips were made and they were then edited put out all over the place, but that in the Sinai Bible, it appeared that Jesus had never been crucified. I said it's quite possible that Jesus was never crucified. Not once anywhere that say Jesus was never crucified. I said quite possible that Jesus was never crucified, or he might not have been crucified, depending on what podcast I was on. So this question came up during the deepfake as not a question in a way that would be asked in a real debate, but it was an attack from the very beginning because they thought they had answers that would debunk whatever I said in a podcast somewhere one day. So the Codex Sinaiticus, often referred to as the Sinai Bible, is a 4th century Greek manuscript of the Bible. In contrast, the King James Version, is the KJV, is an English translation completed in 1611. Comparing these two involves examining differences in textual context, translation choices, and theological interpretations. And so here's the textual variations. Scholars estimate that there are approximately 14,800 differences between the Codex Sinaiticus and the King James Version. These variations range from minor discrepancies to wording to significant differences in the content. For instance, the Codex Sinaiticus includes books like the Epistle of Barnabas and the Shepherd of Hermas, which are absent in the King James Version. Notable omissions. Several
What does any of this have?
presented in the King James Version are missing from the Codex Sinaiticus. Mark 16:9 through 20. The longer ending Mark detailing the post-resurrection appearances of Jesus is absent, doesn't exist. It's not in there. That's biblical archaeology review. Biblical archaeology review. That's the source. It's one of them. There's 8 sources, but that's just one of them. John 53:8-11. The account of the woman caught in adultery is not included. Biblical archaeology review. Source. Luke 20.
You know what?
The phrase, and was carried up into heaven, describing Jesus' ascension, is missing. Biblical archaeology review. Now, they base 100,000 videos, and I do mean 100,000 videos, of complete foolishness off of this information. And I'm sure they'll make a response video talking more crap and using my name. They can just listen. It is what it is. Those are opinionated videos. At that point, that doesn't matter. But the original video that I did not consent to, I'll be paid by pound of flesh for every appearance that it shows up on the entire internet. I will be. Trust me on this. Or there'll be judgments. And when you go to buy a house, or when you go to sell something, when you go to do anything, I'll have to get paid first. And I'm going to take all that money, all those winnings, and I'm going to buy a huge strip of land. Me and my wife already figured it out today. We're going to buy a huge strip of land, and we're going to build mini homes on there for homeless people with all the money. We're going to document it. We're going to post it. We're going to turn your darkness into light. Translation differences. KJV, translators worked from a limited set of late medieval Greek manuscripts, primarily the Textus Receptus and Hebrew text available in the early 17th century. In contrast, the Codex Sinaiticus is an earlier manuscript, reflecting a different textual tradition. These distinct source materials contribute to differences in wording and interpretation between the two versions.
Yeah, there's different.
Implications. The variations between the Codex Sinaiticus and the KJV have led to differing theological understandings. For example, the absence of certain passages in the Codex Sinaiticus, such as the longer ending of Mark, affects narratives concerning the resurrection and ascension of Jesus. These differences highlight the importance of textual criticism and biblical studies to understand the development and transmission of biblical texts over time. While it's challenging to specify the exact number of words translated differently between the Codex Sinaiticus and the KJV due to their distinct textual bases and translation methodologies, the estimated 14,800 differences encompass both minor and significant variations that have implications for biblical interpretation and theology.
So what Billy is trying, let me pause him.
Or in the live chat, of course, this is cut and pasted from the direct source, from actual academic books. I'm not giving you this off my dome. I'm reading academic books. Come on now, tune in, get your head on right. This is basic, not basic IQ stuff.
Now, see, even
Next thing was about the gospel of Jesus' wife. I'll pull that back up in a minute.
when you get
Jesus' wife, that question came up. So, what's the question? In podcasts, I have been noted as saying it's quite possible they discovered the gospel of Jesus' wife. Fact. And then I go on to say in maybe 3 podcasts, it's quite possible that Jesus never died, that he may have been married. And his Merovingian bloodline could still be on the planet till this very day. My wording is very specific and basic. Now, let's take a look at something here. I know these guys are jumping up and down here. Oh my goodness, we gotta debunk this. We gotta go ahead and do what you gotta do. Listen, man, I'm the king. I'm the GOAT. Okay? You guys are just riding on my coattail.
wait a minute.
No real knowledge. You guys know nothing. It's just a whole bunch of heretical, talk for looking for clout chasing and a whole bunch of stuff you guys are doing there, just trying to make it look attractive, but it's really just a bunch of trash. It has no real value for anybody. Nothing you're
Oh, like look at you.
doing is uplifting anybody. Nothing you guys are doing is changing anyone's life. Nothing you people are doing over there is helping anyone. You guys are spending tens of thousands of dollars on fake bots and fake YouTube accounts and sending hordes of people to attack and show their true Christian colors.
Debate is raging among academics and religious leaders over a recently discovered piece of ancient papyrus that makes a reference to Jesus Christ having a wife. Karen King, an expert in the history of Christianity, unveiled the 4th century artifact, which she says is the only existing ancient text quoting Jesus explicitly referring to having a wife, whom he identifies as Mary. King says the fragment of Coptic script is a copy of a gospel, probably written in Greek in the 2nd century.
But what is, of course, exciting about this fragment is that it's the first case we have of Christians claiming that Jesus had a wife.
Tradition has...
It goes on to talk about, I can't say too much of it because obviously I don't want to get copyright strike, but it goes on to talk about the fact that this gospel of Jesus' wife, this text has been examined, it's been looked at, it's been researched, it's been everything you can think about, dozens of academics
You see my
in
screen?
the world, and everyone's looking at this thing, and it's creating a big stir, and it's creating a big woo-ha in the whole Christian community because it can potentially upturn the apple cart and everything else. There's also some talk about it. Maybe this thing is real, maybe it's not real, maybe it's fake.
Well, it reads like something out of a Dan Brown thriller. A Harvard professor is contacted by an anonymous collector with a tantalizing artifact, a small scrap of papyrus covered with an ancient text making the first known reference to the wife of Jesus. The notion that Jesus might have been married sparked controversy in the Christian world, and I'm joined now by the Harvard scholar at the center of it. Karen King is a professor of early Christian history at the Harvard Divinity School, and welcome.
Thank you.
So we're very intrigued about this collector. That's something that you have kept very secret. Would that lend more credibility to this if you could say where this originated?
Well, if we knew actually more about the find itself, who found it in Egypt, how, the history of it since the find, that would be of enormous use. When things are found by professional archaeologists, that gives us really great information. But I think that a lot of people who own these things and who trade in them are anonymous. And so for me, the issue about knowing his identity, I don't think makes any difference. What really matters is the kind of scientific testing that's been done and that kind of work.
So this scrap is tiny.
And he goes on to talk about how much scientific testing has been done. She really believes, and she's gone on dozens of interviews about this, that this thing was real. Now, maybe it's not real. Does that even matter?
It does matter.
Wait a minute.
In my podcast that I've been in, I actually blatantly say that it could be that Jesus was married, and he may have had a wife, and
See, now he's trying to walk.
Now, why would I still have that opinion after people academics come out and try to say that this thing isn't real. Well,
Yeah, why would you?
let me pull back up my my PowerPoint. Hold on a second. Is it possible Karen King was explicitly pressured into stating that the gospel of Jesus' wife was likely a forgery? It's possible to consider factors that may have influenced her acknowledgement of the fragment's questionable authenticity. Scholars, especially those in high-profile positions, can face significant academic, institutional, and public scrutiny, which might feel like pressure.
Wait a minute.
It could put pressure on them to some degree. So, what you're saying is, when people are doing these things, when people are, coming up with discoveries that could upturn the apple cart, it actually puts a lot of pressure on the Christian community, because they have this mainstream ideology that they don't want to bend or break because it's been in place for eons. And what kind of academic pressure can they put on you? Now, I'm going to go into some actual recent, or not recent, but well, fairly recent, in my terms of understanding history, dates and times and geological timescales, evidence of this happening before. And I'm not saying this thing is 100% real. What I'm telling you is I'm giving you a different perspective, which is what I always do.
Well,
reputable scholars publish detailed examinations and institutions emphasize rigorous standards, and this overwhelming consensus could have created a sense of academic obligation for King to align with the evidence. She was extremely gung-ho for a very long time and fought against saying it was fake. That's an absolute fact. She fought against it initially. After the story gained international attention, there was considerable media focus on King and her research. A lot of pressure. Sounds like defendant number one's text messages. The pressure he was under. Sounds familiar to you? He was being attacked. He told me he was under so much pressure he couldn't take it. Investigators report reputable scholars publish detailed examination institution overwhelming. Okay, so here it goes. The public scrutiny and media. After the story gained international attention, there was considerable media focus on her research. And investigative reports, such as Atlantic's expose, further cast doubt on the papyrus. So an outside source came and said, no, we can't. They got pressure, and they came with the external pressure and said, no, we can't let this go out. This can't be known as accurate. This public spotlight might have added external pressure to respond transparently. Institutional and professional expectations. Harvard Divinity School and other academic institutions would naturally be cautious about potential reputational damage, and it's conceivable that indirect pressure arose from the need to maintain the integrity of these institutions. Sound familiar? NASA, making up lies about different things that they do. Yeah, they tell the truth in some things, but a lot of things they tell are obfuscated or lied.
all right.
In other organizations, within government and everywhere else, especially when you're talking about anything doing with government and religion. Those two things are filled with the most lies and obfuscation and oppression. Personal integrity. King's acknowledgement that the evidence presses in the direction of forgery could also stem from her commitment to scholarly rigor rather than external coercion. So I'm also saying, hey, maybe she wasn't coerced, or maybe she was. Now, another thing that came up was this. I wasn't talking. This is all the talking being done for me. So I caught this and I remember it because I haven't watched all these videos. I watched about 30 minutes of one of them and I realized how much editing was done, how heavily edited and dubbed that was. And I realized it was garbage. Let me show you what I mean by dubbed. This is a video of me. Let me see if this is in here. Let me find this. Where's this video at? This is a video of me speaking in Korean. 안녕하세요 여러분. 저는 빌리 카슨입니다. 포비든 노래계로도 알려져 있죠. 만약 여러분이 성장 가능성이 있는 회사에 투자하고 싶다면 저희를 꼭 살펴보셔야 해요. 기억하세요. 1라운드에서는 주가가 주당 1달러였어요. 왜냐하면 저희의 사전평가액이 2천만 달러였거든요. 스타트업 치고 나쁘지 않죠. 우리는 정말 놀라운 성과를 냈고 몇 달 후에 저희의 사전평가액이 3천만 달러로 올랐어요. I don't know how to get on the screen, but let me hide that. There you go. Anyway, so yeah, I was talking Korean. Did you see my mouth? Take a look one more time. 안녕하세요 여러분. 저는 빌리 카슨입니다. 포비든 노래계로도 알려져 있죠. 만약 여러분이 성장 가능성이 있는 회사에 투자하고 싶다면 저희
TikTok.
very easy to do, especially when you're editing. Anyway, so let me get back into this. Another thing that came up during the conversation was, and something that I didn't bring up, something that this defendant number two wanted to get off his chest, was that everywhere that Christianity went, women were, they were released from subjugation and they were rising up and they were gaining more prominence and everything else. I really didn't see that, but I'm gonna talk about that in a minute. Let's get back to evidence that people can be put under pressure, or that the church itself obfuscates or suppresses information or changes things or forces things to not be released. And let's look at some history evidence of that when we're talking about the gospel of Jesus' life. Let's talk about what's happened prior to that. And then you make a decision for yourself whether you believe these people or not, because I don't believe them. The Council of Nicaea, 325 CE, and canonical decisions. Okay, so here we go. Emperor Constantine. The Council of Nicaea sought to establish doctrinal unity in Christianity, leading to significant decisions about the official biblical canon. Action taken. Certain texts, such as the Gospel of Thomas, the Gospel of Mary Magdalene, and other apocryphal writings were excluded from the Bible. So you mean to tell me people are relying on this one book for their eternity? They're locked in. They're trying to lock in eternity. They're trying to lock in everything so they can live forever in this magical heaven. And they don't have the whole story. The council favored texts that aligned with the proto-Orthodox views of the time, suppressing writings that presented alternative interpretations of Jesus' divinity or Christian theology.
So remember
The New Testament as we know it, but sidelined diverse early Christian perspectives. There's no hand of God here. Just a bunch of contrived trash like these people are doing with my video that they didn't have the right to actually utilize. You see?
let me
John Wycliffe, an English theologian, translated the Bible into Middle English to make it accessible to lay people. Why? Because ain't nobody going to read that Latin, and nobody wants to read that garbage British. They want to read this thing where they can understand what the heck it's talking about. The Catholic Church declared Wycliffe a heretic and banned his translation. The Church maintained that only Latin was the appropriate language for scripture.
don't get your
And control, sound familiar to you? Control over biblical interpretations. The Church feared that access to the Bible by common people, the commoners,
so he says
might undermine clerical authority and foster dissenting interpretations. More manipulation, more contrived garbage. Sound familiar to you? They have a history of doing this. This is how they live. They live off of this garbage. These are their teachers. They're only doing what history has taught them to do in that genre. To lie, steal, and cheat. And buy fake bots and attack people's accounts and threaten kids. Wycliffe's efforts eventually inspired the Protestant Reformation, but during his time his followers faced persecution and copies of his Bible were destroyed. Anytime a light bulb rises up, they smash that bulb, don't they? They're not going to smash this bulb. That's a new era, baby. I'm a self-made.
so by Billy's saying he's
The Vatican's handling of the Dead Sea Scrolls, 20th century. Y'all getting this in the live chat? Y'all getting this? Y'all getting this? The Vatican's handling of the Dead Sea Scrolls, 20th century. The Dead Sea Scrolls discovered between 1947 and 1956 includes
now has anybody
biblical manuscripts and other Jewish texts from the Second Temple period. For decades, access to the scrolls was restricted to a select group of scholars, many affiliated with the Catholic Church, and this secrecy fueled allegations of suppression or selective dissemination of information. Selective dissemination of information. Selective dissemination.
you know what
Sounds like a hook in a song. How to be an evil dark person. That's the name of the song. And
Check this out.
critics suggested that the Vatican might have limited access to avoid challenging traditional interpretations of biblical texts or revealing discrepancies between ancient manuscripts and modern Bibles. After decades of pressure, does that sound familiar to you? After decades of pressure,
so Billy
defendant one was getting from defendant number 2 and defendant number 3. After decades of pressure, the scholars and public demands, the scrolls were fully released in the 1990s, revealing important information during debates about historical biblical accuracy. Y'all getting this? Y'all getting this? We got 12,200 people in the live chat. 12,200. These institutions.
so Billy,
Remember in the beginning of this video, I gave you the name of their institutions. They meaning defendant number 2's institutions that he's a part of. These instances illustrate how
and this is why Billy's
control over biblical text has shaped religious and cultural narratives, often suppressing or altering content to align with dominant ideologies or maintain authority. See, they're mad at little old Billy Carson because Billy Carson has a voice, and Billy Carson ain't afraid to use it. And Billy Carson is snatching one person at a time from their deadly, evil, dark system. If their words were so powerful, they wouldn't have to spend tens of thousands of dollars on robots. They wouldn't have to spend time calling people to investigate me.
oh man, look at this.
Where does he get his money? What does he do? Check out his companies. Let's check out this space agency. We're going to beg our followers for money so we can raise legal fees so we can try to sue him for something. We got to figure something out. Get some dirt on him. And we have money available that we've been stealing from our followers for bribes. Oh, I got all the information. You think you have a big organization. What you don't know is you don't have as big an organization as you think. You got a lot of followers, which is just sheep. But I have people everywhere on the planet.
All right, enough. You
Percentage of the planet every day. Me, one man. I touch a percentage of the planet. You guys haven't even come close to that. Enjoy your little 100,000, 200,000, 600,000, whatever views you got. Enjoy it. I mean, take your little $20 check. I don't live off of YouTube money. It's peanuts. We get most of that back and help kids. We help children with that money. It's peanuts. You guys got to pay your light bill, your phone bill, and everything else from that money. All your expenses, and then try to get your technology right, then try to contrive any kind of way you can to take over somebody else's situation by getting on a coattail and clout chasing. It's the only way you can actually get any popularity because nobody really knew who the hell you were. And really, the majority of people still don't know who the hell you are. And when they keep seeing you make Billy Carson videos every single day, which is starting to become very tiring, people are already laughing like these guys are a joke. They're making Billy Carson videos every day. You're literally blowing me up. You guys are literally blowing me up. Like literally, it's making me, I've gained like, 20, 30,000 followers across different platforms. Then you send them to, they're going to my offering pages and leaving negative comments on my offering, my registered offering for my sales of my company. We just delete them. It's not even a big deal. We just delete them. We press the delete button. They use all that dark energy. They thought they were doing something special. Coming on live chat, typing in there. A lot of the live chat comments are just robots. We took taking care of those, You have so much power and this power of Christ in you, but you haven't shown me anything Christ-like. I haven't seen any Christ consciousness. I haven't seen any Christ power. I haven't seen any divinity. Nothing. Before I go to that one, I got a little bit more to go. I'm not done. I got a lot more to go. Taking my time tonight. How y'all doing in that live chat? Now, we got a lot of bots, but y'all don't know we got 5 people cleaning the bots out. Every time a bot posts, we got them cleaning them right away. So you don't see most of the bots in their live chat. We got 5 admins in there cleaning. 5 great human beings filled with the light, with the real Christ consciousness, like I have behind me. That's Christ consciousness behind me, the face of God. Not a man in a white robe. Caesar Borgia, a brutal killing murderer, is the image that people are walking around with this Jesus image all these years. The guy who was the son of a pope that killed his own brother. Craziness. I believe in God. And I've said that 100 billion times. I believe in God. I believe there's a God. I don't doubt that one bit because the quantum physics and the mathematics proves that God actually exists.
But here's the thing.
The evidence is all around us. The evidence is even encased encoded into my own hand. The distance between the digits in my finger, the distance between the last digit of the pinky to the bottom of the top of the wrist. That's all mathematics. It's all encoded. Pi, phi, it's all encoded. It's a fingerprint. The fingerprint of God is everywhere. It's everywhere. And not one time, there's dozens of videos. Not one time you have me hear me saying that I'm an atheist. I tell people I am God and God is me. They were all God.
That's not right.
It's about Christ consciousness. Do you understand the mission that he was on? Do you want
No, Billy, do you?
the peace that he wanted to bring to people spiritually, to have them seek the light and become the light and operate within the light? How come I can see that and understand that, but you guys can't? And you're wrapped up in the actual religion itself. You're operating in pure, unadulterated darkness. Extremely evil, conniving, manipulating. You don't believe in your own stuff that you guys teach and preach. Because if you did, you would not need to spend hundreds of thousands of marketing dollars to attack one person and track a person down, making all these contrived phone calls and offering bribes to people. And yes, we have witnesses on that, by the way, all entered into evidence. And you wouldn't have to do that if you really truly believe in your power and the power of your Christ and your God. It tells me that you don't believe in God and you don't believe in the power of Jesus either.
So when he is
Fabricating things and doing darkness in the name of God, which is even worse. Even worse. You're pissed off at me because I have a different perspective of God than you do. And it's pissing you off so much to the point where you're willing to jeopardize your own freedom, your actual real freedom, and your bank account to attack in a very dark way. Not even realizing all the energy you're throwing at me, I'm accepting it and alchemically converting it into light. I could have put this video out
Wait a minute.
the next day.
Oh.
I said to my wife, no, we're going to wait. Let the anticipation continue to build. Let it continue to build. I want more energy. I want all of the energy that they can send me, as much as I can max out. Let them make 50, 60, 70, 100, 1,000 videos. Get all of their hordes together and send them all to me. And that's exactly what you guys did, exactly as I predicted. So I just waited patiently. I let the anticipation build. I let the videos go out there and let them get in circulation. I let the hype build up. And then I just absorbing right now at this exact moment in time. I'm at
So here's
energy. I'm taking it all in. And I'm alchemically converting it into light. You see? That's the difference between me and you. Now, let's get back into talking about some stuff real quick. All right? One of the things I wanted to talk about when he accidentally disconnected his video again was this. I'm talking about Abraham and Isaac. God is supposed to be all-knowing and all-loving. And all the same, he's all the same all the time. He's the same all the time, right? Well,
let me pause.
you really believe that the God of the Bible is the creator of the universe and has all-knowing, all-loving, omnipotent, and omniscient. That means he's everywhere at all times and knows everything before it even happens. All-powerful. The word all is big here, all-loving. Let's take a look at this. Then God said, by the way, God said this according to this text. I don't really believe this is really God, the God of the heavens that created earth and created the universe. But let me just read it from their perspective. Then God said, take your son, your only son, whom you love, Isaac, and go to the region of Moriah. Sacrifice him there as a burnt offering on a mountain that I will show you. So God is now telling Abraham, hey man, I require a sacrifice. So I want you to get your son, your only son, and bring him over here, man. And yeah, you're going to have to kill him for me. Early next morning, Abraham got up and loaded his donkey. He took with him 2 of his servants and his son Isaac. When he had cut enough wood for the burnt offering, he set out for a place God had told him about. On the 3rd day, Abraham looked up and saw the place in the distance. He said to his servants, stay here with the donkey while I and the boy go over there, and we will worship. Then we will come back to you. So now he's lying. He's lying to his servants. So he's actually telling a bold-faced lie to his people. The second thing is, and the most important thing is, this quote-unquote God makes him go on a damn journey with his son to go kill him. I mean, they went on a far journey. They didn't go around the corner. They literally went on a trek. He says, do not lay a hand on the boy, he said. Don't do anything. Why did he tell him that? Because he first was going to kill him. He says, on the 3rd day, Abraham looked up and saw the place in the distance. He said to his servant, stay there while I and the boy go over here. We're going to worship and come back to you. And then what happens? He actually gets ready to kill his own son. He literally gets ready to kill his own son. Abraham took the wood for the burnt offering and placed it on his son Isaac. and he himself carried the fire and the knife, and the two of them went on together. Isaac spoke up and said to his father Abraham, Father. He said, Yes, my son. Abraham replied, The fire and the wood are here, Isaac said. So he made his son go gather the wood and get the fire going for his own death. If that ain't sick, I don't know what else is. But where's the lamb for the burnt offering? His son is asking. Where's this lamb? We're getting ready to make a sacrifice to God. We're worshiping. We're getting ready. I went and got the wood. I got the fire. When they reached the place God had told him about, Abraham built an altar there and arranged the wood on it. He bound his son Isaac and laid him on the altar on top of the wood. Then he reached out his hand and took the knife to slay his son. But the angel of the Lord called out to him from heaven and said, Abraham, Abraham. He said, Here I am, he replied. And he obviously the angel tells him, Hey, don't God, we were just joking. Don't really do that. We just was testing you out to see if you were really down with us like that. Sound familiar? Defendant number 1. Defendant number 3. Manipulation. Sadistic. What is a sadistic narcissist? Let's take a look at some of the traits and see if we can compare them to this quote-unquote God of the Bible. A sadistic narcissist is someone with narcissistic personality disorder, NPD, who also exhibits narcissistic or sadistic traits. A sadistic narcissist takes pleasure in the pain of others. They may derive satisfaction from causing mental or physical pain to others without remorse. And we see that time and time again in the biblical text.
The problem is that
During the death of people, he actually thrives on it. Slay the women, slay the children, bring the spoils of war to me. Why does God need spoils of war? That's in Deuteronomy. Aggression. A sadistic narcissist may respond to challenges or threats with aggression. Again, in the book of Deuteronomy, main text.
false right here.
One person there that speaks against me, go burn down the entire town and kill everyone, even the children and women. Really? Go read it for yourself. I always tell you guys, all the podcasts that I'm in, don't believe what I say, research what I say. Everyone's entitled to gain or find their own opinion. But a sadistic narcissist, they lack empathy. And that's what we see here. Let me ask you a question. Let me ask y'all a question real quick. Any of you out there on this live chat right now, how many of y'all have children? How many of you guys have children?
So
in the live chat, who has children? How many of y'all have children in the live chat? Let me see how many people have children. There we go. Good. A lot of children here. A lot of people have children here. Let me ask you a question then. I'm asking for a friend. If someone came to you right now today and told you to take your son or your daughter out into the bushes, lay them out across a rock,
here's the problem. It's not.
pick up a knife, and force it through their neck or their heart, would you do that? To prove a point of your allegiance to some person? Now, let me ask you this question. In that situation, being that we are human beings, and now understand.
Yeah, that's the key. That's the key.
What type of mental health issues do you think that caused the father and the son?
Well,
Today, and we took those people to a psychiatrist and connected them to a SPECT scan at Dr. Daniel Namen's office, the #1 scanner of brains in the world, we would instantaneously see a trauma pattern on the brain. That would be a diamond pattern that would burn directly into the top of the brain. Why? Because their brains have been altered from the traumatic experience. That event could have caused Abraham to have a heart attack. It could have caused him to take his own life. I'm pretty sure he thought about that as well. Before I do this, I'll take my own life before I take my own son's. You see? So a lot of pressure there. Sound familiar? The pressure. He's thinking, well, if I don't do this, I'm going to look bad in God's favor. Sound familiar with this whole defendant 1, 2, 3, 4 situation? I even got
This is a bad argumentation. He's
3 and 4 yet. I just lightly tapped on 3. Got a lot more to go. A lot more to go. A lot more to go. He's the easiest case of all of them. He's the linchpin. He ain't the kingpin. He ain't the ringleader, but he is the linchpin. We got you. We got you. So, the mental trauma that created from doing something like that can only be done by a sadistic, evil, narcissistic mind. To get someone to go out and potentially off their own child and have them thinking, should I off myself instead? But if I do that, I might not make it into heaven.
that's not what. Wait a minute. Oh, that's not what.
Shows me how ignorant he was and how self-preserving he was for his own self. I would never, ever put my son's life ahead of my own. I would take myself out instantaneously. See, that's the difference between me and this guy. Now, they will preach to you all this stuff about him being this great holy man because he proved himself to God. No, he proved himself to be a doggone idiot, is what he proved himself to be. He proved himself to be a sheep, a self-preserving sheep filled with fear. That's what he proved himself to be.
Like I said, he's a
And I do mean crime. They're going to be put, depending on the state, they may get a death sentence or they may get life in prison. The child, him or herself, will be mentally tainted forever until they die. They will never be the same again. Never. A child. I never got a chance to express that in the deepfake that happened. Let's take a look at the book of Deuteronomy before I get into defendant number 3. A lot of murder, rape, and pillaging in the Bible. They attacked the Midian just as the Lord had commanded Moses, and they killed all of the men. All 5 of the Midianite kings, evil,
Now,
Her and Reba died in the battle. They also killed Balaam, the son of Bear, with a sword. Then the Israelite army captured the Midianite women and children and seized their cattle and flocks. And all their wealth was plunder. So they stole everything they had, even their money. Then they burned the towns and the villages where the Midianites had lived. And they had gathered the plunder and captive, both people and animals, and they brought them all to Moses. This sound like sadistic, dark, controlling, demonic stuff ordered by the Lord. I mean,
so
you guys go and read that. That's Numbers 31, 7 through 18. Laws of rape, Deuteronomy 22, 28 through 29. If a man is caught in the act of raping a young woman, and yes, they use the word rape in there. If a man is caught in the act of raping a young woman who is not engaged, he must pay 50 cents of silver to her father. Then he must marry her because he violated her, and he will never be allowed to divorce her. That's his punishment. What kind of lunatic would rape and victim marry the attacker? Come on now. This is what you guys are into? I was going to ask this question. What type of lunatic would rape a victim and marry the attacker? You know what his answer was going to be? Well, that was the Old Testament.
this is
That was done back in the day. They always go back to, that was this, and it was that. And well, back at the time this was normal activity. It's always normal activity when God is killing people and murdering people. And again, I don't believe this is the real God doing this. I believe these people were influenced by somebody masquerading as a God. That's my personal opinion. And I'm sticking to that. I believe in God, but this ain't my God. This ain't it. Sex slaves. When a man sells his daughter as a slave, she will not be freed at the end of 6 years, as men are. Oh, I can sell my daughter as a slave if I want to. My all-knowing, all-loving God, same all the time God allows this level of evil to occur. There's even laws that allow this, because this was how it was back in the day. If she does not please the man who brought her, he may allow her to be bought back again. But he's not allowed to sell her to foreigners, since he is the one who broke the contract with her. Oh, these are great laws, all targeted to keep men keeping their boot on women's necks, to have sex trafficking and slavery. As the creator of the universe has anything to do with authoring this text? Or is this text authored by flesh and blood people? A man that puts his pants on one leg at a time, just like you and I. That question never got a chance to get answered in this debate, because I never got a chance to speak. I want answers. Oh, he's going to go make us man. Well, that's in that time period and so forth, and you don't question God, and it's a time period that they were in, and you keep sticking to that. I'm sticking to what I feel, what resonates with me. That's what I'm sticking to. God assists rape and plunder. Zechariah 14, 1 through 2. Lo, a day shall come for the Lord, when the spoils shall be divided in your midst, and I will gather all the nations against Jerusalem for battle. The city will be taken, houses plundered, women ravished. That means raped. Half of the city shall go into exile, but the rest of the people shall not be removed from the city.
Look at
Omnipotent and omniscient. Going back to Abraham real quick and Isaac. And all-knowing God would have known that Abraham was already Lord. He would have known that Abraham was already going to do exactly what he had asked him to do, because he already knows the future.
And Michelle,
Omnipotent, omniscient, everywhere at all time, knowing everything before it happens and all that good stuff, all powerful. But he just couldn't predict that Abraham was actually going to follow his orders. Are you kidding me? I mean, is this a comedy that I'm reading? A dark comedy? Is this a dramedy that I'm reading? You mean to tell me this God didn't know that this guy was going to follow his orders, so why even put him through the motions? Is that what you guys are telling me right now? Never got to ask that question.
this is silly.
You would think that Jesus in the New Testament would have a different view of slavery, but slavery is still approved in the New Testament. Slaves, obey your earthly masters with deep respect and fear. Serve them sincerely as you would serve Christ. Ephesians. Christians who are slaves should give their masters full respect, so that the name of God and his teaching will not be shamed. If your master is a Christian, that is no excuse for being disrespectful. You should work all the harder, because you are helping another believer by your efforts. Oh, that's so nice of us. Teach these truths, Timothy, and encourage everyone to obey them. He's writing a letter to the church and all this stuff. That's my excuse. He's writing a letter to the church, and he's talking to the people at the time of the day and all this foolishness. This is the impetus for people to create slaves, most of which were my actual relatives. And you want me to believe that this biblical text is inspired? That's the term, is inspired by God? My God would not inspire slavery. If I've got all-knowing, all-power, all-omniscient to create universes, and I've got children that I've created, I'm going to teach them, and I'm not going to allow anything like this to happen. It will never even take root. Let me ask you a question, because this is where I was going with it when I was going to be in this deep fake. Some of us have kids. And if you have a child, and the child does something wrong, which happens, and children do things wrong, it's just basic, it's part of growing up. What do you do about it? You scold them, you put them on punishment, or you teach them. That's what you're supposed to do. You find ways to make them recognize their wrongdoing so they can correct it. If you're a good parent, you listen to your kids and you let them speak. You don't use the slave method, which people have still been using to this day, which is beating their kids. That's a slave method. The beating kid thing is the worst thing you can ever do to a kid because you're traumatizing them for life. You're giving them severe trauma links and PTSD. Only a small percentage of the children ever make it out and can say, well, I got beat, that set me straight. But the other 95% of the people are suffering their entire life. They're trying
Yeah, I feel like
to drug addicts, bipolar disorder, narcissists, and everything else because of those crazy beatings. Instead of listening to your kids and talking to them and finding out how you guys can gain some kind of common ground and teaching them and leading by example. We have the power to do that as human beings. And you mean to tell me this all-knowing, all-living God didn't have the capability of doing that? Didn't understand basic parenting 101? But this is the creator of the universe. No, wrong. Again, like I said before, things I wanted to talk about in the dramedy that never got addressed. Let's move on a little bit now. Let's move on a little bit. Let's see where we're going now. Let's get over to, we're going to start talking about defendant number 3. Let me get into that.
I was thinking the same thing.
Here we go.
Wait a minute, what's going on?
Let me show some photos. Let me pull up a photo here. 12,791 people in the live chat right now. Make sure you guys share this video. And if you haven't, make sure you click that like button. Where's this photo? I don't know. Here it goes. Here somewhere. There we go. This one here. All right. Defendant number 3.
This is the
Case of them all. This is the linchpin that took the illegal content and distributed it online. The content that I didn't want distributed because I knew that it was contrived. It was heavily edited. Some of it was dubbed. It was also a setup. It was one-sided, and it made us look like complete amateurs. Even if it didn't have any of the other attributes to it, just the way that it looked, period point blank, it looked like an absolute clown show, and I didn't want to be involved in a clown show. Now, what are these photos up here? You can see the bar over the face, the black mark over the face. It's showing in a couple of photos. This gentleman has been to my house, as he stated in his hate video, another dark entity. We invited him to
Well, we already know.
to a New Year's Eve party. We've done work with this man for over the years. We've done workshops and classes and training sessions over many years. My wife actually knew him for 20 years, and I've known him since probably, 2019, something like that, when I started helping him promote Dr. Joe Dispenza, who he actually worked for, Dr. Joe. It was 2018, 2019, I started doing promotions for him on my social media accounts when I used to take paid promotions. Now I don't do that anymore. I only promote my own stuff, but back then, just trying to monetize, I promoted other people's content, other people's conferences and so forth, and Dr. Joe was one of the larger, accounts, marketing accounts. So that's how I met him. My wife knew him long before I even met her. It was just a coincidence that we actually ended up knowing the same person. I thought he was a cool guy. I really did. I spoke so highly of this man. Again, another person I let right in the circle. I really thought he was a cool person. I thought he was on the same frequency. I had done several things with him over the years, breathwork meditations and workshops and classes. Paid him money. He paid me money. Matter of fact, here's the last check he gave me right here. This is paid from his company, $11,000 he paid me. I was in a live workshop with him, Reverend Michael Beckwith, and a couple of other top-notch speakers. They were all good guys with a lot of real good knowledge. And my payment was $11,000. He paid me by PayPal, as you see, witnessed there in my receipts. This gentleman gets on a video and says the other day, now let me go back. I digress. Let me go back. Let me paint a better picture of defendant number 3. He was on the frequency of the Christ consciousness and loving and helpful and cheerful and happy when he was married to his beautiful wife. I think her name was Irina. And something happened, and he turned dark. He started gradually turning dark. I'm not sure what happened within their relationship, but it ended. I was kind of shocked. I hadn't seen her and him together in a while. And when I found out that it had ended and he had actually moved from Michigan to Florida, I said, okay, well, we'll do some things together. He claimed in this video that at that time, which would have been either, 2019 or 2018, that I told him I was 70 years old. At that time, it would have been probably 48. He claimed that
Remember, we talked about that.
one of the most asinine things I've ever heard in my life, and I'm going to tell you the stem and the root of it goes into defendant number 4. He claimed that I told him that I was 70 years old and I did that so I can sell colloidal silver. How in the world am I going to sell colloidal silver by telling people I'm 70 when I'm clearly in my 40s? And as some would have thought, I was in my 30s at the time. I would have sounded like a complete bumbling idiot. Now, if that was true, and everything else he said in this hate video, he's a cocaine dealer and all this, he's laundering money and all this. If he felt I was doing all this stuff, why did he do business with me for 5 years? Just as recently as that last invoice was paid, just in last year. Why do business with me if you know that I'm just this life? If somebody came to me his age and told me they were 70, I would say, oh, I can't do business. This guy's a psychopath. I got to walk away from this guy. But yet and still, he did business with me for years. Where does this 70 come from? Let's talk about that for a minute. Let's clarify what happened with that. Defendant number 4 saw an article about me online. Not written by me, not hired to be written by me. someone wrote an article about me, some random site saw me as an up-and-coming producer, and said, "Hey, I'm gonna write an article about this guy." And they did. In that article, they went to my IMDb, Internet Movie Database. That's where all the movies and TV series are stored, and people can get their credits for whatever work they've done in film. On my IMDb, it has a bio of me, and in my bio, it has my name and information about me. It has my height, my skin tone, my eye color, my hair color, my weight, and all that information. Because if somebody's looking to book you, they need to know that information so they can see if you're the person that's the right fit for what they're looking for a TV show or series. Inside my bio, my height was in there at 6'4".
Ryan, you
6, quote, 4, double quote, 6'4". The person that wrote that article, they must have cut and pasted some of my bio because it was in there word for word. When they cut and pasted it into their blogging software or whatever that was, the 6'4" was in there, but it became 64. So I guess in some way, or the sloppiness of how they were reading or understanding or comprehending, whatever it was, it just said 64. It said Billy Carson, 64. But on my IMDb, it says Billy Carson, 6'4", with the quotes, the quotations, designating my height, showing that I'm a tall individual. So it became Billy Carson, 64, instead of 6'4". That got carried on and got indexed into Google. Other people were then writing articles about me, but copying. What happens when somebody writes an article from these like B and C level article companies online, they all kind of grab from the same information and they kind of modify it just a little bit, and then they put it out because they're just trying to get traffic to the site so they can get their Google ad revenue. So it kind of became 50, 60, 70, 80 people with almost the same exact content, but still always saying Billy Carson, 64. So I started going live and doing videos and things like that. At some point, people started asking, "Hey man, this guy's 64 years old." Not 70, 64 at the time. And I would comment back, "No, I'm not 64 years old. That's a mistyping article." I've gone live and I've got clips on Forbidden Knowledge on my Facebook and Instagram account of me explaining this exact thing. I've talked about this, I don't know, 5 or 6 times over all this decade or whatever, explaining this 5 years, or last 5 years, explaining this crazy coincidence thing that happened. I got a Wikipedia page put up, not Wikipedia, but Wikidia, which is the sister company to Wikipedia. And I put that in my my bio on X, which used to be Twitter, and a few other places, because it shows my date of birth and my age. It says right there, 9/4/1971, and my age. At this time, I'm 53 years old. Defendant number 4 had taken or looked and saw one of those articles and taken that and contrived his own story and told it to this guy. This guy ran with it.
Yeah.
He saw the article, which way it went. Either way, the two of them were communicating and having a conversation about that because I have a copy of some of those conversations. And so he gets online to talk about this guy tells me he's 70. He doesn't even realize he's added the years. And it would have been from the time that this article was written until now to make me 70, technically, I guess, or something like that. Whatever the years were. He's added years into it to make me 70, 68, 70, whatever the number is. The story just doesn't match up. It's just contrived and it's total garbage. It's a waste of time. I mean, there's nothing legal there. It's just an idiot talking garbage, just talking off the top of his head, trying to sound intelligent, just failing. I mean, it's laughable. Anyway, just wanted to clarify that. But the next thing he did is he went on to try to dox me online. He took some information that had been spread up.
Wait a minute, folks. I thought
Another defendant, which I'm going to pull up his information here in a second on the screen. I'm going to show you legally what we did and what happened. And that information was false information, proven to be false information. And there's another case I'm going to pull up showing another person that did the same exact thing. And that is not going to trial, as the judge has denied his plea. Absolute plea of, please don't take me to trial. Please throw this out. Denied. You got to spend money on an attorney, buddy. We're going to court. You're going to have to prove this in a court of law, and you can't do it. You know that, and I know that. They're taking this contrived, error-based information from public records and trying to pass it off as official information. And it's not. And there's a reason why it's not. There's an absolute reason why it's not accurate. Let's get into that, okay? Let's get into that. First, I'm going to do is I'm going to tell you a little bit of a story about what happened to me with 2 different identity theft situations in my lifetime. Unfortunate situation, but it happened. All right, and I'm going to break it down to you, as I've done before on video. Some people in this life have seen this already. This is the same information I was submitted as court evidence before in previous cases that I won. First of all, this is a photo of me on IMDb. This is actually my IMDb with a show called Judicial Injustice that I have been working on. Okay? Judicial Injustice. Now, Judicial Injustice was going to be this series just talking about what happened to me with this identity theft situation and how it impacted me, how I was treated, and how it took me so much money to get out of the situation and to prove my innocence and everything else, which I did. Never got charged with a crime, never had a felony charge, never been to prison. So later I realized that story is just a small piece of a much bigger puzzle. It would be better to do a full docu-series or a docudrama on my real full life story. So we altered this project because we have a new series coming out. It's already in production, which is a full docu-series on my life story, so people can see a whole full series, probably, 5 or 6 seasons of content. You see where I came from the time I was born, how I struggled to stay alive in the hospital with Rh negative blood, and everything I had to go through to get to the point that I'm at now, including this situation. I thought it would be better to wrap it into a series. It's going to be a phenomenal series. It's going to be exclusively on Forbidden Knowledge TV. Well, it's already in the works. It's actually going to have a couple of spin-offs. So other spin-offs is actually already partially being written right now. And it'll be a second spin-off, which will be the culmination of the 2 spin-offs merging together, which is going to be incredible. You've never seen anything like this on TV yet. So I'm the one who put this out. And you can see the date on this is years and years ago, which is where people went and got the idea to go look this information up. Now, if I can see it go. There we go. What's crazy is in America, we discover that we are the land of the free, but the most people in prison. And out of all the people that are in prison, the majority of those people are minorities. And out of the majority of the minorities, guess what? 50% of those people locked up in prison are locked up on victimless crimes. They actually didn't injure or hurt or steal or rob anyone. They only hurt themselves. Victimless crimes. And the majority of those people are black. So it actually should be no surprise to you whatsoever that a black man gets into a situation where he ends up getting booked into a county jail for a traffic violation, for a mistaken identity, for anything. You see? I witnessed my father get beaten in 1977 in Miami, Florida, right off of Alibaba Avenue in Opa-locka, going to pay the rent for the place we were staying in. 4 cops came over and started beating the crap out of him with the butt of their rifles, and a 5th walked over and says, "No, not that nigga, the one down there." And they got up and just left him on the ground bleeding with my brother and myself and my mom screaming and crying inside the car, watching our dad get pummeled by these cops. Fast forward, 74 years old, a man that's only 5'8", maybe 115 pounds soaking wet. He's at a concert in Melbourne, Florida, and he was invited to by his own neighbor who was in the band. They put him in the front row. He was wearing a suit that I bought him without the jacket, just the vest and the pants and dress shoes. Cleaned up. He hardly ever left the house for anything. He finally was pulled out of the house to go be a part of something. And we have the 9/11 tapes. This is a public case that you can look up, Melbourne, Florida, Palm Bay, Florida. Sorry, Palm Bay, very close to Melbourne, but it's Palm Bay Police Department. We won the case. That's why you can look it up and check it out for yourself. Someone called 9/11 and said there's a black drunk vagrant in the front row harassing people. 4 cops showed up within less than 5 minutes with all those people around in this live concert and beat my dad down, broke his back, and gave him a double concussion in front of all those people. My dad subsequently had to go to the hospital again after that initial visit because his back wasn't fixed right. They didn't really fix the broken spine. He was in so much severe pain and agony. Subsequently, he died from that beating. That beating was the root cause of his death. So when you find out that a black man has a mugshot, why does it even surprise you? I've been pulled over on 441 in North Dade County and told to pull my pants down and lift up my scrotum by a cop. So why does that even surprise you? It shouldn't, because it's factual and statistical and the stats are real. Now that I said that and got that off my chest, my dad's anniversary of death just passed. Anyway. Okay. Anyway, so yes, he was crazy. Yes, he was on drugs and drinking alcohol most of the time. But you know what? He instilled something in me. And that thing that he put in me has driven me to this very day. And I don't care what you say about a parent. They didn't have great parenting skills. They were, whatever. But he was depressed from losing his mom, losing his dad at a very early age. He was on his own from age 16, and he got on alcohol, and it led to drugs and everything else. He was trying to cope the best way he can. No mental health programs existed that they did. Nobody like him could afford it to get in. So it is what it is. Anyway, this is my first car. It's a 1978 Buick Skylark, I believe. It was 78 or 79. I believe it was 78, though. Buick Skylark. Sky blue. That's it right there. And why am I showing you this? I'm showing you this because when I got this car, I used to do something very stupid as a young man. I used to leave my driver's license and my Social Security card, which was in my wallet, underneath my car seat. Because I forgot my wallet so many times, and I would get situations where I didn't have my wallet, didn't have money, or I would get pulled over and not have my ID on me. So I said, you know what? This ain't going to happen to me no more. Literally only 16 years old. So I put my ID on me. Now, I lived on my own. I moved out and got my own apartment at a very young age. I'm in this place off of Miramar University, right next to the Sam's Club. I think it's the name of the place now. But anyway, there was another gentleman in my neighborhood. His name was Terrence. He had the same car I had. But I had fixed my car pretty nice. I put nice rims on it. I put trues and bows on it. I had crushed down interior. I had 210s and 212s in the trunk with a Sony amp. It's a nice car. Nice sound system and everything else. And, I had some things that he wanted from that car, I'm presuming, because he actually stole my car. And how do I know this? You'll find out in a minute how I know this. The reason why I know this is because my stuff was showing up
Story time.
within a week. The same exact car model making year. If you look at this album cover, this is the Poison Clan album cover called Poisonous Mentality from the Poison Clan rap group based out of Miami, Florida. The person right here, dead center, next to the red logo, up to the right of the logo, and also directly under it, superimposed, is Terrence Howard. Not the actor Terrence Howard, not my good friend Terrence Howard, the actor, but Terrence Howard, the sleazeball, who actually stole my car. But in my car, what did I have? I had my identity. I had my license and my Social Security card in there, which he ended up utilizing for his crimes. This song that they made, which you see him holding a purse in his hand, was about robbing and jacking tourists, which they actually did in real life. They actually went out jacking tourists for real, and they made a rap song about it. So what these rappers are doing nowadays is nothing new. They've been doing this, rapping about it, telling on themselves. This is him right here, Terrence Howard, Miami, New Orleans, class of 1989. I don't know if they got him back again, but he's been in and out of jail over and over again. He ended up having warrants for his arrest in Georgia, North Carolina, Virginia, Florida. I went to go apply for a car one day, and when they pulled my credit, I had a cell phone bill. Back then, cell phones were really high if you really used them. I had whatever that Georgia Bell South. I had Bell South on there, or Southern Bell at the time it was called. I had a gas bill on there, and all this stuff. I had an eviction notice on my credit. I'm like, what the hell is all this stuff? I go hire somebody, find it's all coming out of Georgia. I'm like, what the hell? Who is this? What's going on? I still have no idea. It's this guy right here, the guy that stole my car. I still didn't put two and two together. I had no idea what was really going on. Come to find out, it was this guy using my name as an alias, getting arrested over and over again and using my name as an actual alias. How did I find this out? Here's another case with him using my name as an alias, which ended up getting clarified. But I found this out through contacting courts and attorneys and clerks and everything else. I got into a car accident in Western Florida. I was coming down South Post Road, and two cars ahead of me, a lady tried to swerve out of the way of an animal. There's deer back there. And instead of hitting an animal or a deer or whatever it was, she slammed on the brakes, and it ended up creating a three-car pileup. I was the third car in the back. That's my car. That's my Lexus GS right there. And smashed the car. We wait for the cops. The cop gives her a ticket. I'm waiting for a tow truck to get my car on the flatbed. It's now total. I only had the car for a few weeks or whatever. The car's total. And then the cop says to me, the trooper, the state trooper, he says, Mr. Carson, come here. I said, yes, sir. He said, I think I'm going to have to take you down to jail. I thought he was just joking, so I started laughing. He said, no, I'm serious. It's a warrant for your arrest. I said, a warrant for my arrest? Where? He said, North Carolina. I said, North Carolina? I haven't even been in North Carolina. I said, I might have been through North Carolina when I was a young kid, riding in the back of my grandfather's van on the way from New York back to Florida to visit my grandmother for the summer. But as a man, I've never been in North Carolina at that time in my life. He says, I don't know, man. I said, you got to show me this on the screen. He opens up his laptop, and right there it says, Billy Carson, alias Terrence Howard. Again, for clarification, not the Terrence Howard, the actor, the Terrence Howard, the sleazeball that went to my high school. He had warrants for his arrest, and gave me it showed him as a foreclosure in Georgia, delinquent gas bill and collections, AT&T collections, Verizon collections, plus numerous other arrests that he had. Some of the stuff. So he was wanted for trafficking cocaine in Dougherty County, Georgia, also. This is where defendant number 3 gets on this video and says he didn't get put in jail for selling weed. He was put in jail for selling cocaine. No, you clown. You doxed me, and you just gave me an official defamation of character, because this is provable in a court of law, as it was proved that I was released, and they would look for him, not me. So this is what happened. He was wanted for that, and they almost extradited me there because the attorney that we hired to hop on this case was like, I can't get to it right now. I got to get to it in my Monday or Tuesday, but he'll be fine, and so forth and so on. This is what he's telling my ex. And the only good thing she ever did was she actually contacted the state attorney up there, and the state attorney realized they had the wrong man, so they let me go. That's what happened. And I got a document to that stating that effect. Okay. And so this is also a communication not too long ago with the people in charge of the documentation, because I wanted to have another hard copy, because all the moving I had lost an official copy of some of my receipts, so I contacted her, and this is the actual email. You can see her information on here, phone number, everything, to get that documentation again, and got a copy of it back again, maybe last year, I think, well, 2023, whatever it was. Here's an official record of what...
Since Billy's not going to talk about the
what happened. So through this process, my credit was so messed up, and all this arrest stuff was popping up from this guy, and this is when the digital system really didn't exist yet. So it was so hard for them to distinguish. It was like they couldn't just scan my fingerprints and tell it was me, because they didn't even have scanners back then. There was no scanners at this time. It was old-fashioned looking at it with a magnifying glass situation. And an attorney I had trying to work on getting this all cleared up was costing a lot of money, taking a lot of time. And I wasn't getting a great response from the credit bureaus, and situations for me renting properties and everything else it was horrible. I was really debilitated. So the attorney suggested that you should change your name temporarily until this all gets cleared up, and then you can change it back. Well, here's a copy of that record. So I was born Billy Cameron Carson II, and then I did a legal name change to William Carson temporarily. Well, I was hoping to get all this cleaned up and straightened out, which I eventually did. I just never got around to changing it back, and I got comfortable with it. It was like, whatever, man. Who has time to keep going back to court and doing this all over again? Until later on in life, I had this happen. This is a couple of companies that I used to own, and I had some partners in this business, 3 partners in the business. And one of the partners ended up stealing not only my identity, but other people's identities as well in the company, and utilizing my identity to do all kinds of nefarious acts. He had access to the file cabinet, access to the information, access to the office, access to everything. I had the technology and the infrastructure and the office space, and the gentleman that I knew, which was a good friend of mine, had partnered with him before. I didn't know this guy. So my guy knew him. He came on board to bring they had the sales reps, and I had the office. They had the training system, and I had the infrastructure. So it seemed like a perfect marriage. So I got to know the guy a little bit, or whatever. I didn't know the guy was shady. And my partner didn't even know. He had told the wool over his eyes as well that this guy was shady. Ended up having to get an attorney. Here's the official letter here. Finding out that he was siphoning deals out of our office and putting them through another company he created called Genie, something Genie. I forget. I can't see it because my eyes aren't that good anymore since the pneumonia. They're getting better. They're going to be better. They will be good. But right now I'm struggling a little bit just to see. But it's on there. It's small text. Anyway, so the company was Genie something, and he was siphoning deals over there and utilizing information. We had found this because one of the customers sent us a copy of their credit card transaction, which is right here, and we circled the charges were coming from a company that they were utilizing as a merchant processor. We had to do a whole investigation. We had to pretend like we were customers, so we had to actually buy the product and see what the transaction showed us on the credit card statement to figure out who it actually was. We went over to the office and found out who it was. We found out that he was in there, and he was the one who had cultivated this whole scheme. And here goes the legal documents where we had to actually sue him and file for an injunction against him and his company in a judgment, which we actually won in court. See, defendant number 3, we win these cases. Defendant number 3, we win these cases. Okay, we win these cases. Another thing that defendant number 3 said that was I was a convicted felon. I was a prisoner. I went to jail. No, I don't have any felonies. Sorry. This is a statute about having a concealed weapon in the state of Florida. It clearly says that a concealed weapons license is not eligible to be possessed by a person having a convicted felony. That's the first line in Florida, Special Section A and Special Section B. Here's my concealed weapons license. It doesn't even expire until 2027. I have a special FBI code that I use when I go buy my guns, so that they know that identity theft fraud was in there. If you don't know about that, go ask any gun seller about the background check and having the FBI code that you put on the application. It allows them to know when it goes into the background check. It allows them to know right away. Oh,
Hey, Zane.
what happened? This has already been proven to be false. This guy's clean. Give him the gun. See that? You see that? So the fact that you made that statement, that's more defamation of character. It's not an opinion. You made statements, and those statements. This is my Team USA basketball license, and the reason why I'm showing you this is because in order to get this, you have to have a nationwide background check every year. This is just one of many of them that I've had. It's like Coach Team USA, it did youth development, and AAU and everything else, and they all require, USSSA, they all require background checks. They don't let felons around little girls and little boys. Which I coached and had the largest program in South Florida. 121 players, 7 teams, and every single player went to college on scholarship. And that we were just stealing from all of our customers. Well, if you go to the Better Business Bureau, there's over 400 5-star ratings and complete incredible testimonials from real people. You see, defendant number 2, we don't use bots over here. We don't hire programmers. We don't hire geek programmers that are in the far left that are in the cult, that want to just be cool by being down to do your hacking. We actually have real people, because the Better Business Bureau is one of the hardest places to actually put a review, because they verify each and every one. It might take 2 weeks for a review to show up because they verify each and every review. And yeah, that's an A rating on the Better Business Bureau. And we also have a 5-star rating on Trustpilot as well, with over 499 reviews from people that have done everything from buy our products to travel the world with us, to come to our events. So defendant number 3, you're wrong again. You shouldn't be listening to defendant number 4. He got in your head. He got in your head. And there's a reason why he did that. Jealousy. He believes that I took the love of his life. He was secretly in love with my wife, never had the balls to actually attempt to talk to her.
Wait a minute. This is
Quote unquote friend. He was in that friend zone. And when I came and swooped her up and made her my woman and my wife, he got so jealous he went and fabricated all this information, and he went and told everybody, calling the whole world. Everybody he can call. He called Gaia. He called Earn Your Leisure. He called anyone he thought I was doing business. He called Travel Channel, Discovery Channel, History Channel. You think those people cared about what he had to say? They laughed at him. It was a joke. He thought he was going to end forbidden knowledge. You can't end an independent person. But he got in your ear, because everything you regurgitated came out of his mouth. And now he's cost you thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars that you don't even have. You see? Thousands of dollars. And I will go on a campaign to let everyone know I'm putting together a new site, a new account just for these fraud companies that are out here in the conscious community, that are really part of the unconscious community. And I'm going to let them know, you and another one like Fam Networks, Vitali, all those people who have been stealing from the conscious community, lying and scamming us, it's got to come to an end. And you're now on that list. And so, like a brother, I respected you at the highest level. If you needed a favor, I would hop on a plane and do it for you. I thought you was a real person out here. When I started seeing your videos, defendant number 3, where you started talking bad about women and how you got to put the boot on the neck of a woman and how you got to dominate a woman and you're not a real man if you don't do this to a woman and that to a woman, that's when I said, I got to back off. So we were having you do our marketing, which was not doing well at all, by the way. AI edited clips that were getting no views. Every now and then one might pop, but it just wasn't the quality we were looking for. But we sent you a lot of business. We sent you big clients, including defendant number 1 we sent to you. We sent you another person that has a big podcast. We sent you another person that has a big podcast in the whole church. You got clients that you're still eating off of right now at this very moment and have been eating off of that we gave you. Even though we didn't want to do business, but you were still respected enough to still send people your way. And never talked bad about you, not even one time. Always spoke highly of you. Said you were a great human being, a great person. I thought those dark videos you were making about women were just,
oh man,
you're just hurting. When I see the compulsive obsessive disorder you have, you go from one thing to the next and you highly obsess over it. Now, these people in this new cult have gotten to you and probably bribed you. I'm not sure about that. Probably may have bribed you. But somehow you're under their wing. Maybe it's for cotton popularity that you've never been able to build for yourself. You're just sitting tired of watching everybody blow up and you can't blow yourself up. You're feeling inadequate about yourself. Plus, you're very, very short. You're a very short man. So you're trying to figure out what you can do because you need to feel big. So I know I'll just turn on people that really love me and support me and try to put them in the worst light to,
hey, Michelle.
what are you talking about? All of our financials are audited, heavily audited, gap audited, which is the highest level audit you can get, and approved. Our raise offerings have been approved. That's a hefty, hefty process, which is why a lot of people can't get it done. They account for every penny. I remember we had $1.43 we couldn't account for. It took us an extra 3 weeks to clear that $1.43. He got in your ear. Defendant number 4 got in your ear, and he spoiled you. And then these people from this cult, defendant number 2, got in your ear and promised you, like they did Jesus. Like Satan went to Jesus and said, you can have all of this. He came to you because these people are really following the devil. They're not following any real God, Christ. He came to you and he said, you can have all of this. Just join us. And you fell right into their trap. And now you're there. And now you're in a situation where you can't back out. It's like a gang. Once you're in, you can't get out. You're in a gang now. You can't get in. You got jumped in. You can't get out. The second you back away and want to go back to what you really were doing before, they're going to attack you. And you know that. So now you got to be all the way in. You've got to be all the way in. Defendant number one sent you that ring camera video. You took that attention to these guys to prove that hey guys, look, hey Ralphie, hey Ralphie, are you happy with me now? Hey Ralphie, are you happy with me now, Ralphie? And knowing that they would take that video trying to turn it into something dark to make it look like I'm trying to pull up on people. Another illegal video, by the way, but whatever. Because Mark has a do not consent and a cease and desist for any video of any kind, anything. It doesn't matter where it is, what it is. Anything in his possession of me is blocked and banned. Even that ring video. You didn't know that, did you? His attorney and him agreed to that. You didn't know that, did you, when you put it out there? You didn't know that. So you didn't get the full story. This is on the screen right here, Cardi B. Why am I showing this? Well, Cardi B won a big lawsuit. She made these defamation claims in these lawsuits so easy. 1.3 million in litigation expenses. She was also awarded $250,000 in medical expenses. Both parties agreed to reduce that to $25,000. She was so nice because the person was broke as a joke, just like you are. Either way, there's going to be some extraction of funds because
Well, it's not.
through case, it's allowed me even currently to be able to do some things in some other cases. See, every now and then you got to push back. You got to push back every now and then. Let's take a look at one. I'm going to have to pull it up here so I can actually see it and read it. Let's see, this is one.
He's deflecting.
All right, let's take a look at this one. Let me see if I can read it from here. See if I can blow this up in any kind of way. Yeah, it's going to be hard. I'm just going to leave this on the screen while I go ahead and pull it up over here so I can actually see what the hell I'm reading.
Oh, who we got here?
Yes, that's a real person. Not Monica Lewinsky. Also, the name is quite similar, isn't it? Probably committing the same acts. This person doxed me with the same exact information that defendant number 4 gave to defendant number 3. But this defendant came to his senses. Be advised that this office has been retained to represent Billy Carson relative to the false defamatory statements you have reportedly broadcast on the internet falsely, asserting on multiple occasions in various online platforms that Mr. Carson is a convicted fraud felon guilty of felony bank fraud. You do so for admitted purposes of harming Mr. Carson's reputation and deterring others from associating with him. While we suspect you do not actually need such notice, in addition to demanding retraction of your false statements, this correspondence shall serve as a documented notice of the following unequivocal facts. Mr. Carson has never been convicted of a felony. Mr. Carson has never been convicted of bank fraud. Mr. Carson has never been served prison time for fraud or any other felony offense, and is not an ex-convict. You report on December 2013 an arrest in Broward County, Florida. What you failed to mention is that, relative to the charge of what could perhaps be considered bank fraud to a layperson, the state attorney Michael J. Sachs returned a no information just 1 month following the arrest in advance of the arraignment. Oh, yeah. As you surely know, a no information or no action, you probably didn't know this, occurs before formal charges are filed. An information or formal criminal charge, a no information means the person accused of a crime is not charged. Therefore, not only was Mr. Carson never convicted of felony bank fraud, he was never formally charged with felony bank fraud. Since public records establish these facts, your repeated and conclusory statements strongly suggest that at best, your defamatory attacks are reckless, and at worst, they are intentional and driven by malice. Either way, the racial overtones are inescapable. So the racial overtones are inescapable. Mr. Carson is a highly successful person of color who you are attempting to brand as a convicted fraud felon. You tear him down and say that he cannot be trusted because he's a convict. You associate him with a community full of murderers, rapists, pedophiles, and con artists, and child molesters. You falsely accuse him of illegally keeping for his own use funds that he raised for a charity. You did that too, didn't you? This is a totally separate person from you, but yet still, everything you said is in the same exact order, isn't it? We got you, man. We got you. You got to stop cutting and pasting, and you got to stop listening. You should have did a better job on this. You should have really questioned yourself before you put your feet in hot water. Defendant number 3. You falsely accuse him of illegally keeping his own funds that he has raised for a charity. You shamelessly used his mugshot from the December 2013 arrest to associate him with criminality at a time when many reputable publications are acknowledging such practices and practices
Somebody said,
contribute to systemic racism. And that's exactly what this is, by the way. This whole attack is racism. If you disagree with Mr. Carson's professional endeavors, then you are free to voice and share your opinions on his work. But we will not allow you to do so maliciously and misrepresent his past, especially after all the challenges he has so admirably overcome. Just like the pneumonia in my throat. To be clear, we provide this letter in accordance with all pre-suit conditions for initiating a defamation action against you and your production company. Production company. You have one too, don't you? You're the one who produced this content, aren't you? Interesting. We demand immediate and full retraction of all content you have published online, or otherwise perpetuating the false narrative that Mr. Carson is a convicted fraud felon and is an ex-convict. You initially made these statements on Twitter and posted it 20 blah, 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 and so on. I can keep going on that. But your allegations about our client are false statements of fact. Mr. Carson is not a convicted fraud felon or ex-convict, has never been incarcerated. He has never been convicted of fraud. He has never been convicted of a felony. Indeed, with the exception of a traffic a minor traffic offense, Mr. Carson has never been convicted of any crime. I got tickets. My biggest crime was that when I was a teenager, I got pulled over. I got like 6 tickets in one stop. The cop was really messing with me. I didn't have a light. Busted. It was an old car. It was a jumper. It was a hoopty. I did not have my license on me. As I told you earlier, I always used to leave my license in the house. I had other issues going on with the registration. I didn't have a copy of that on me and all this other stuff. But by the time I got all said and done, I had like 6 tickets. I just ripped them up and threw them in the garbage. That's my biggest crime. I paid for that. I mean, I was 16 years old, man. I mean, I was a kid. I'm 53 now. I mean, come on. So, with the exception of the traffic, Mr. Carson has never been convicted of any crime. Further, the context in which you have presented your allegations reflects a clear intent to harm Mr. Carson's reputation, unjustly injure his business associations and dealings, and deceptively undermine the validity of his work. You suggest that Mr. Carson's colleagues should not collaborate with him. Oh, that sounds like defendant number 4 again. Exact words. Exact words. Interesting that this guy, who did this before defendant number 4, then defendant number 4 copied and pasted a lot of his work and duplicated what he did almost line by line. You rely on non-existent felony fraud conviction to dissuade others from doing business with Mr. Carson and to call into question his entire body of work. The gist of your statements is not simply that Mr. Carson was convicted of felony fraud, but that he's a fraud. His business is a fraud. Anything he touches is inherently untrustworthy. You apparently want to cancel Mr. Carson and promote your own brand with other shotgun-style online tactics. That sounds really similar to what's going on right here with this cult that you're in now. You've been jumped in, aren't you? By your own desire for validation or genuine dislike of Mr. Carson, your statements are actionable in a court of law. Your false statements have accused and continue to accuse to cause significant damage to our client and compel him to take actions to protect his interests. Mr. Carson is aware of his right to pursue claims for relief against you, and this letter represents our good faith attempt to initiate a constructive civil dialogue in furtherance of reaching an agreeable resolution, which we did reach an agreeable resolution. We reached that resolution. I urge you to take our demands, not to take our demands lightly. If you assume that there is no intention of Mr. Carson's part to follow through, if you assume that there is no intention on Mr. Carson's part to follow through, you do so at your own peril. He has the resolve and the means to litigate and dispute through a trial in which your exposure will be high. I suggest you consider the multi-million-dollar judgment recently rendered against YouTuber Tasha K. Juries everywhere quickly waking up to the very real damage online attacks can cause. The plaintiff in that case rightfully pointed out that what separates her from a high schooler getting cyberbullied is that she has the means, and I have the means, to fight in court. Similarly, Mr. Carson has the means to seek justice and find, moreover, has every intention to do so. Thank you for your prompt attention. So forth and so on. Daniel A. Powell, Esquire. And we got our pound of flesh. Now, where's the other one at? Let's see, which one is this? Oh, here goes another one. This one is actually in court right now. We're in court right now with this gentleman here, Toronto A. Johnson, a.k.a. Morris TV on YouTube. He took the same information from this Mr. Lewinsky that defendant number 4 took and that you now defendant number 3 has taken, and he copied and pasted it, and he regurgitated it like a parrot. And guess what? He's in hot water as we're in court right now, and he's been summoned to go to trial. The little bit of money that he made from the little YouTube videos is all gone. It's all going away. There's another one here. I want to show the case file, but I didn't upload that one here. But it shows that he tried to put a thing into the court to have it thrown out, and the judge said, no. No, you got to deal with this one, buddy. You're going to pay for this. So the little $300 he made off of YouTube, that's long gone. See, every time you got to get an attorney, you got to put up about $5,000 to $10,000 retainer. In some of these cases, it's $15,000 to $20,000 retainer. You see? So I know that defendant number 2 is already calculating how many of his people he can beg for money so he can have some attorneys. But he's already talking about, Billy Carson is suing me. No, I didn't. And that letter that you showed, defendant number 2, was not a lawsuit letter. It was a cease and desist letter that you have taken and utilized illegal content and put on your platforms and have dispersed that illegal content to many platforms against my wishes because it was never publicly available content. There was a do not
He must be talking about Wes. I think he's
insist on that from the very, very jump, long before anyone else got their hands on it. So in that case, you're now distributing illegal information. That's what you're actually doing. And you know that because in one of your videos you said, I know I'm not supposed to post this, but here it goes anyway. So that just incriminated you, and we have a copy of that. You incriminated yourself. Thank you. We appreciate you.
Yep. So yeah,
I'm sure you're zealous. We'll give you a lot of money. It doesn't really matter. They're just pissing their money away.
someone's been.
Let me close this out a little bit here. I got some more to talk about. I'm not done yet, y'all. We got 13,500, 13,600 now in the chat. I'm not done yet. Let me check out this live chat. Y'all still here? Y'all sleeping here?
Please be done soon.
Y'all sleeping or y'all awake? In this live chat. Huh? This is what they try to do when you get famous. You see? I let a lot of it slip because a lot of these people are just ignorant poor people. You know, they're just poor people. They're just ignorant. So I let a lot of it, you know, whatever, man. These people are just poor dummies. You know, what can you do? But every now and then, you got to push back a little bit. You got to let people know, like, hey, I'll let you go so far, then I'm going to draw a line in the sand. And you think your cult is so huge and so massive. I've got people in every area of politics, and yes, I still call them politricksers, but I've got people in politics. I've got people in three-letter agencies. They come on tour with me. I've got people in government. I've got people in countries. Powerful people. that support. I've got billionaires. I got billionaires' numbers on my cell phone. Billionaires. I can just call right now and have casual conversations with. I hang out with them. I got powerful
And I'm
people behind me. So you think you got powerful people behind you and you got zealots behind you? Congratulations. You thought I was just some dumb black guy that just happened to get a little lucky with a couple of clicks online and gain some popularity. Like Kendrick Lamar said, they not like us. They not like us. Anyway, let me get back to this now. Got a little bit more. I got a little bit more in me. Y'all want to hear some more? I got some more in me. Got some more in me, man. Defendant number 4 is going to be getting exposed like R. Kelly and P. Diddy in an upcoming documentary. And it's going to be amazing. It's called Surviving David McCullough. It's being produced right now. And it's going to expose every little dark secret, all the sexual harassment, all the theft, all the lies, all the thieving and deceiving and the robbing of investment dollars. The people who have invested in this company all coming together to put a class action suit against him for taking their money. People are rallying right now to put all the information into a report. A lot of legal activity on it, and myself, we're already filing. Well, first we have a step-by-step process. First you have to send the cease and desist. That's a standard process. Like I did with defendant number 2. You have to send that cease and desist. You have to send that. If you don't send that, then you don't have a ground to stand on it. You give a person a chance. You give them a chance to take it down. So like with them, the fact that we already know they're not going to do that, it's just a process of the wheel spinning, you know? It's just a process of the wheel spinning. We know that the NDP, you know, from the University of Ontario, these people that are these religious zealots, we know what they're into. And that's okay. Like I said, the RCMP, the VPD, the CAFC. Fortunately, I have fans in those places. You just never know when you're poking a real bear. You just never know when you're poking a real bear. You see? You just never know. But this Surviving David McCullough is going to be huge. Just like R. Kelly, just like P. Diddy.
what is he talking about here? I mean,
How he stole money from these women. He literally manipulated all women, single women, and a few men, but mostly women. Stole money from them, manipulated them, stole equipment, blackmailed people. It's all coming out. Lied on people
Joseph says,
to blackmail them, to steal the equipment from them. It's all coming out. Surviving David McCullough. And the lawsuits are all dropping. He's going to have so many lawsuits at one time, he won't even know. It's going to be just like Diddy. Just like Diddy. The documentary is coming out very soon. Surviving David McCullough. That's defendant number 4. Gotti, he also doxed me 3.5 years ago for the same information that defendant number 3 used. That's why I know his source. Identical information. Even the video where I'm helping people from Hurricane Maria. I'm buying water, buying supplies, and shipping it out of the country.
this is definitely a response to Anti.
Up in the magazine about all receipts were posted online. They tried to say that I raised money to buy these supplies to keep the money. I mean, for real? That was peanuts. It wasn't even a lot of money. It wasn't. I was driving a $200,000 Mercedes. Why in the world would I need to start a GoFundMe account? Which, by the way, GoFundMe verified everything. That's why I love GoFundMe. They verified all that money that I sent to, the money I raised to send those 2 gigantic trailers over to Houston, Texas. They verified the money that I used to buy the supplies for Hurricane Maria. And they also verified the money that I gave to that woman that was getting evicted from her home. A random waitress. I went to lunch one day, and a random waitress who I had seen there 4 or 5 times was crying behind the counter. It's all on video on my Forbidden Knowledge account. I didn't record her crying at the time, but I asked her what was wrong, what was going on. She told me that, she was getting evicted and she has 3 kids. Young girl. So I went live. That's still there. I went live and I said, hey, guys, this woman is getting evicted. She works at this restaurant. Would you guys be willing to donate some money to help her keep her apartment and so they don't get evicted today? And they said, yeah. So we started to GoFundMe. I went up there. GoFundMe doesn't pay that quick. I went up there and paid the money to her. I gave her a check for $15,000. And you see me writing the check. My friend Henry was with me. We drove up there in my car, gave her the check. And so this is in advance. The money hasn't come in yet from GoFundMe, obviously, because that takes a whole while to approving and process. But I know it's going to come in because my people are legit. I gave her the $15K, and she saved her family. Her kids wrote letters to me. They wrote stories and everything else. They were so happy. And then about 2 weeks after it all happened, I get another call from who? GoFundMe. They made me go back up there and take a picture of her ID and stand there with her and have her say what happened and show a receipt for everything she used that money for. Just like the other instances. Yeah, we have receipts. So yeah, there's no way I'm going to use a hurricane scenario to try to raise capital for myself, and that money was absolute peanuts to me. You see my lifestyle. That's peanuts. Anyway, some of the things people come up with is just ridiculous. I want to announce something incredible. I got a huge announcement for everybody. This is a huge, 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 huge announcement. Make sure you tell everybody. Make sure you tell everybody about this announcement, okay? It's going to be massive. Let me see if I can get it up here on the screen. Where's this thing at? Y'all don't believe me. This is crazy. This is going to be a huge announcement. Let me get this thing up here. Oh, here it goes. I gotta show you the photo while I talk about it. So let me get the photo ready because you guys gotta see this. This is amazing. This is amazing. Okay, where's this thing at? Here we go. You're gonna love this, by the way. Especially the zealots. They're gonna love this. Let's see if this is it here. Ah, here it goes. Got it. Okay, now I can put it up here. Just want to make sure I get it on the screen for y'all. It's gonna be massive. One second. Let me just put one of these out here so I can upload it now. Let's see here. There we go. Boom. It's uploaded. Okay. Huge announcement coming. Huge, massive announcement. I'm really looking forward to this new podcast series. I'm starting a Bible study with a 30
No!
in the church and a Bible study with Billy Carson and Paul Wallace, unveiling ancient truths, a deep dive into scripture and hidden knowledge.
Anytime someone uses that word,
I'm starting a Bible study. New podcast coming. Unveiling ancient truths, a deep dive into scripture and hidden knowledge. That's right. Each episode is going to be incredible, mind-blowing. We're going to get the air dates probably twice a month. We'll put up our Bible study. And I'll have incredible guests on like Reverend Michael Beckwith, other incredible reverends
oh my goodness.
that I really love and appreciate. Other people within, different aspects of spirituality and even religion. We'll have life coach and Bible laureate, Tim Story. We'll have all these people on. We're going to have great talk, great conversations, and we're going to teach great knowledge. Starting a Bible study. So I want to thank these gangbangers for creating all this controversy and all this energy and stirring it up. And
See, this is
because I'm taking it. I appreciate it. I really appreciate it. Not only am I crushing this garbage deepfake, I'm going to start a Bible study on top of that. And you have no idea what kind of catalog of content I have. I'm getting ready to put out so much content. I see you guys only have religion up your sleeve. That's all you can talk about. You have no real knowledge. I can talk about anything. Quantum physics, metaphysics, spirit.
Here's the thing.
I can talk about anything. Science, sports. I have so many topics swirling around in my head that I can go deep diving on. Technology. I have a new science show coming out where I'm doing experiments. All that stuff. There's so many aspects of what I do. And you guys thought that you were going to cancel and end my career. That's the subject line you guys put out. No, you're building my career. You're building it. That's what you're doing. You're sending me energy without even realizing it. I mentioned a couple of names in this podcast, but the main culprits, I only mention the names of the people that are like losers on social media and the internet. They have no followers. The other one is also a loser on the internet. He has no followers at all, but I didn't mention his name for one particular reason. The defamation is coming. The other guy, it's a big collaboration. Just like you have your collaboration that you're working on to try to take Billy Carson down. You're trying to put together a global network for one man. That's how scared you are of me. You guys are horrified of Billy Carson. You're horrified. We got to end this guy. He's too big. You can't take down a self-made man. Knowledge makes men unfit to be a slave. You never heard that quote before? Frederick Douglass? Knowledge makes man unfit to be a slave. Keep your black attacks going. Keep your hatred going. Keep your gangbanging going. Keep siphoning money from your followers and spending all of it on robots to make fake YouTube accounts and fake thumbs down and fake comments on posts and fake attacks on posts. Keep the dark energy cycling. Just keep doing what you do. Thinking that somehow in the end, it's all going to work out for you. You'll be whisked away into this magical heaven. Keep doing it. I'm going to keep doing what I've done. See, your portfolio of helping people is not even close to my portfolio of helping people. You're not even in the same category as me. None of you.
Jesus, he's talking about.
I have a portfolio of the assistance that I bring to the world outside of just talking on video clips. I can teach a monkey to do that. I can teach a monkey to do tricks. Real help, real solutions. Investing and saving and spending real money on people, helping real people all around the world, not begging and siphoning. I get my people to chip in because I want them to feel like they have some type of sense of accomplishment, like they're helping the world too. The things that I do behind the scenes, like building people's houses that are homeless, donating money to orphanages every single year, and all these other projects that I run behind the scenes that's none of your business that I'm doing, I can sit here and brag for hours. You guys aren't doing that. You're trying to figure out how you can siphon another 10,000 out of your followers so you can continue to find some type of attack. You're trying to find out how you can siphon another 10,000 out of your followers by lying to them and fabricating to them so you can figure out how you can find out where I live and show up at my house. You have followers, your followers contacting, your sheep contacting us, telling us they're going to attack our 12-year-old kid. You have your following, based on your lies and your deception, attacking our 12-year-old YouTube account, which is just a little YouTube gamer. His little account, he was so happy.
Yes, please. Built for speed.
Now we have to keep him off of it so he doesn't see these attacking comments. Hatred, evil, darkness, all in the name of the Lord, right? A 12-year-old. A 12-year-old. Interesting. Interesting. Wow, that's what you guys are up to? That's what y'all support? Y'all support attacking children now? And pulling up on people's houses? We've got voice recordings of conversations that you guys have been putting out there. See, you don't know who's on the other end of that phone that supports us. You think they're supporting you. You never know when you're going to poke a bear. I was going to take the rest of December off. I've been bragging about that all year long and all of our...
Okay.
We were going to take December off and relax. I just came back from my one-year wedding anniversary with my beautiful, gorgeous wife. We relaxed in a huge 8,500 square foot mansion with our best friends.
Okay, wait a minute.
On a
Wait a minute.
times when all your foolishness was propagating. And I just said, let it go. Don't respond right now. Let it go. Let it get into the system. So they can cultivate and create the energy that I want to absorb. And I'm absorbing all of it. I'm not the same almost half-dead person that you tried to talk to a few weeks ago. I've gotten my clear mind back. I'm not...
All right. Let's do...
Fog is gone. My body weight's coming back. I'm lifting and working out every single day. I'm getting stronger by the second. I'm not that weak, sick person that just almost died that was in the hospital, coming on a show, on a video feed with an IV bandage on, literally fresh off the IV tree, the big tree with all the different IV bags and all the antibiotics and everything else dripping into my body. Fresh off the bag. I'm in the studio, out of boredom, really. But brain fog, tired, exhausted, can't breathe. I only got about 2 more weeks of recovery left from this pneumonia, and I'll be full strength. But either way, I have a catalog of content. I'm going to do a brand new Bible study and bring on the top, what I consider to be the top spiritual leaders. To come and speak and talk.
Wait a minute.
Some will be bishops. Some will be spiritual leaders with no church affiliation or whatever at all. But they're all going to be great orators and great teachers. And we're going to break down information and we're going to teach it the way it's supposed to be taught. We're bringing the light. Won't he do it? We're bringing the light. We're bringing the flower of life. We're expanding it from 2D to 3D and from 3D to 4D. We're building a brand new Tesseract.
A Tesseract. I know what it is, but... Okay, what's going on here?
At the same time, defending home base and standing on business. Period, point blank. Defending home base and standing on business. So, if you think that you can continue to do what you're doing, hey, whatever, man. I really don't care. This isn't the first time this has happened. I had this flat earth community attack me harder than you guys. This is like, whatever. At the same time, though, you got that illegal content, and then you altered it. And defendant number 3, you doxed me with information that has failed already 4 different times, and I've got 2 specific cases here with the same exact cut and pasted information. Plus, you added a little extra juice on top, talking about my wife. You make hard statements. See, you got to learn, if you want to get away with defaming somebody, you can't make statements. You have to be kind of obscure and ambiguous, if you even know what those words actually mean. You might not know what those mean. But if you did know, you would know, common sense would have told you, I don't want to go against Billy Carson, defendant number 3. Especially after how he treated me, how he respected me. Not once, ever, have I told anything bad about you. I always spoke highly of you. I thought you were a great human being. You turned out to be part of the unconscious community. And it doesn't surprise me anymore. I used to be surprised. Now I'm starting to realize that most of this community, the leaders are unconscious. You want to be a leader so bad. You want clout so bad. When I saw that video of you earlier today, you actually even combed your hair for the first time in weeks. Get up under these guys winning. Just like Satan did to Jesus. All of this can be yours if you bow to me. And didn't you do it? You bowed right down to him. And now you're in. You're in. They jumped you in. You're in now. Aren't you, defendant number 3? You're in. You're all the way in. There's no going back. Stay in there. Let's see how that does you. Let's see how it does you. You can get on there and you can still talk about downing women and treating women like crap on your videos and see if that's going to get you any views. You get 4 views a video. Most of that's just you going back and watching them again yourself. And you can look for more people to try to defame. I saw your video you put out trying to attack Sadhguru, trying to attack Joe Dispenza, trying to attack whoever else. I don't know, Greg, or whoever you've been out there trying to attack. I'm not sure. I got to go back and look at the video again. But you're trying to attack all these leaders now. Nobody even knows who the hell you are, and nobody even cares. You haven't put in the real work. You had a couple of conferences or mini, whatever you want, retreats. You put together a couple of online things that did okay because of your connections with Dr. Joe Dispenza and the email database that you had built up. If it wasn't for him, you'd have nothing. And then you talked dirt about him to me and told me he was no good. I remember that. That should have been my sign right there that you were dark. That there was something wrong with you. But I gave you the benefit of the doubt at the time. I said, well, maybe this guy did treat her bad or something. But now I'm starting to realize it's just your phases. You go through these phases where you become completely super obsessed and indulge in something like this new woman thing you've been doing. You probably just got out of it now. Now you're into this cult thing. Change your whole bio over your faith, Jesus Christian, and you're attacking people in the name of the Lord. Sounds like all the wars we've had on this planet. If your God in the Bible is so powerful, why does he need to kill everybody and have all these wars? Another question I wanted to ask. Never got to do that with all the chattering going on, all the disconnected videos going on in the deep fake. Never got a chance to say anything of any real value.
Now he's lying, folks. This is
But you try to attack all these leaders now. Nobody even knows who the hell you are.
Okay, that's
Nobody even cares. You haven't put in the real work. You had a couple of conferences or mini, whatever you want, retreats. You put together a couple of online things that did okay because of your connections with Dr. Joe Dispenza and the email database that you had built up. If it wasn't for him, you'd have nothing. And then you talked dirt about him to me. You told me he was no good. I remember that. That should have been my sign right there that you were dark. That there was something wrong with you. But I gave you the benefit of the doubt at the time. I said, well, maybe this guy did treat her bad or something. But now I'm starting to realize it's just your phases. You go through these phases where you become completely super obsessed and indulge in something like this new woman thing you've been doing. You probably just got out of it now. Now you're into this cult thing. Change your whole bio over. You're straight Jesus Christian and you're attacking people in the name of the Lord. Sounds like all the wars we've had on this planet. If your God in the Bible is so powerful, why does he need to kill everybody and have all these wars? Another question I wanted to ask. Never got to do that with all the chattering going on, all the disconnected videos going on in the deep fake. Never got a chance to say anything of any real value. You're all knowing, all powerful, all omnipotent, yet you can't stop one brother from killing the other one. Till this very day. How does God have chosen people, but created all people, and supposedly loves all people, all knowing, all loving, all the time, except for these people are just a little bit better over here. And because
man, that tells
they
me
get the green light to blow other people up, don't they? They get to blow other people up and kill them in what they call this religious war. And to prove
this is massive. This is
losers in the wrong religion, they believe in the wrong God, so now they're not worthy of anything, so we can just take them out if we want to, take all their land, take their property, take their goods, take the spoils of war. Sounds familiar, doesn't it? Deuteronomy. Still playing out to this very day, based on text that was supposedly written thousands of years ago. These people are following a blueprint of divine and conquer, disaster, and blood. All in the name of the Lord. No, it's really in the name of themselves. They throw the Lord in there to justify it. It's all dark, man. You people are following the same Satan, the devil that you're running from, and you don't even see it. You don't even know it. You've been heavily, heavily, heavily manipulated to the point where you are. It's really scary that there's that many NPCs walking around this planet. Drones. You people are drones, man. No empathy. I gave you the definition of that earlier. Sadistic narcissism. Lack of empathy. Controlling. Quick to anger. Jealous. Envious. I am a jealous God. Didn't he say that? He. So was the guy. There'll be no other gods but me. Oh, really? Okay. Well, what other gods are there then? I want to find out about them too. Sounds like a person with flesh and blood. To me. That's what it sounds like to me. Like I said in this video, I believe in God. I know there's a God. There's a creator of this realm. The science has proved we're living inside of a creation. No way to escape it. You can't escape that. It's real.
wait a minute.
The fractal holographic universe. We're living in a fractal.
Wait a minute. Wait a minute.
A matrix made of light that has this right here behind me at every Planck length throughout all known space-time. We're living on top of an energetic grid that's connecting everything and everyone. There's a yin and yang balance, the dark and the light. So right now, at this particular time, as you guys roam this realm, you're moving into darkness. At some point in time, maybe in the future, some of y'all will move into the light. Some of you will never move into the light in this particular lifespan.
Come into the light. Anyway,
As the Bible says, you will get a new name and a new body. You will not be spirits without bodies. Reincarnation.
no, not
Right. So when you come back again, maybe you'll learn some lessons. Maybe you'll ascend to a higher level of consciousness. Maybe you'll break through to the Christ consciousness at some point. Some of you
What does he do with
will still be stuck in believing the current ideology and dogma that you've been fed, and you'll keep running down this dark road, thinking that you're running towards the light when you're running towards the hell that you're creating for yourself. All right. Anyway, thank you everyone for participating and joining tonight.
thank all of y'all?
That one is going to be a real special series. Not the Bible study, not the surviving David of color, but there's another one coming out. And I can't wait to get that one out. I'm going to put it up here real quick for you guys so you can check it out. It's going to be an amazing episode that we're going to be talking about. We're going to be talking about the dangers of a narcissistic psychopath. And that's one right there.
Wait a minute. Interesting.
of some people here, and some people are going to join virtually. And we're going to have a conversation about this person and what this person has done and what this person has taken from many people on this planet. And we're going to talk about the psychology behind the dangers of a narcissistic psychopath and what that means. Once again, thank you. It's been a great night. Make sure you go in your app store. Go to your app store, the iOS App Store, Google Play Store, Samsung TV, Roku, Apple TV, Amazon Fire TV, LG TV, and get the Forbidden Knowledge TV app. You want to see exclusive content that you won't see on YouTube, where I can talk
Exclusive talk
without having to watch my words. Watch my new Uncensored series, where I expose a lot of crazy situations dealing with Big Pharma. Myself and I do that, dealing with 9/11, and dealing with other controversial issues like the Jabberwowski that we can't talk about on here, or they'll delete the video, and many other things, amongst my other incredible shows that we have on there, the Anunnaki docuseries, and many different TV series and documentaries that we have.
Somebody used
Orators from all over the world. So make sure you guys get the Forbidden Knowledge TV app. We also have music, and we have now audiobooks. So you can get on there and listen to audiobooks as well. Documentaries, movies, TV series, audiobooks, music, and workshops on the Forbidden Knowledge TV network. See, I'm self-made. Nobody can take down my network because it's my network. I'm not going to cancel myself. You see? I didn't sign a contract with a Fortune 500 corporation for $10, $20 million. I didn't sign a $100 million book publishing deal. I became my own book publishing company. I'm not going to cancel my own books. I'm not going to cancel my own music, which is selling globally, 340 songs in global distribution, licensed to TVs, documentaries, movies. I make more money than rappers. I'm not canceling my music. You see? You can't cancel somebody that's independent. I'm not a Joe Schmo 9-to-5 worker bee. I'm not like, what's that rapper? Yeezy, what's his name? Yeah, I think it's Yeezy. The guy with the Adidas contract, they canceled him. They canceled his secret deal. Apple canceled his deal. Nobody's canceling my deal. And all these TV shows that I go on, they don't pay money. You go on there for just get your face out there a little bit more. The most I've ever been paid is $500. And you get $100 per diem or something like that. You may walk out with $350, $400. I've been over hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of TV shows. They don't really pay you for this type of thing. You have to be really like a union-based actor to get some type of real revenue with acting and things like that. This is not acting. It's like you're considered an expert on a topic and you speak on there, and that's it. It's just for popularity. That's all it is. Even shows that have been up for 20 years, they still only pay between $400 and $500 to a person. You're in there for like 4 or 5 hours and you go home.
Yeah, but
it gets from like a show like Ancient Aliens or anything like.
Man, this guy.
It's just standard in the industry. You're not getting rich off of that. You have to have real businesses, like I have, and real business knowledge and real financial literacy. So check out my articles on entrepreneur.com, because I'm a contributor to Entrepreneur as well. But I have a lot of connections, big time entrepreneur connections as well. All right. Anyway, guys, I love you guys. Thanks for hanging out. This has been the Forbidden Knowledge Podcast. I exposed the fake debate video.
No, you didn't.